Okay, we're back with some more Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane, Part 5, and we're in Case 3, which so far, this is avoiding the classic Case 3 syndrome that besets so many games of this caliber, perhaps games featuring certain ace attorneys, and maybe games featuring students in killing games. But anyway, we just successfully argued our childhood friend into telling us more about the crew of thieves that she ran with, apparently. Let's see. All right. The truth. Stories started spreading around after you went missing. People heard about how a single mother was executed while the City Watch forced her child to watch. What? Things already weren't great here, but I think that was the tipping point. No one trusted the City Watch after that, and the crime in this city slowly got worse and worse. Merchants were constantly getting robbed and attacked. One by one, they started pulling out of the city. It wasn't long before the only person who could do business here was the Duke of Commerce, the one merchant with enough armed forces to protect his goods. Jobs became scarce, and the ones that existed had terrible conditions. A lot of people turned to crime to survive, so a bunch of us at the orphanage decided we might as well ride the wave. You started robbing Von Sanctus's ships? Honestly, it was all Justin. I was just the distraction. With some help from the other orphans, I'd use my evocation magic and put on an act to spook the guards. While they were chasing us around, Justin would slip into the merchant ships to take what we needed. At first, we only took the food and clothes we needed to survive, but we realized we could actually make a lot of gold by stealing Von Sanctus's goods and selling them on the black market. Justin had a real talent for breaking into the more guarded ships. I hope she's not implying that a government official isn't a good guy. Yes. Well, of course not. Government officials are all great. He'd learned a lot about artificery from some of the books we stole, and he learned how to bypass Von Sanctus's security. He'd slip in and out of the ships without being seen or triggering any alarms. They called him the Mist-Weaving Phantom. Did they call him that, or just you? Hey, the titles I come up with are catchy. Do you remember the name I came up with when we were kids? Yeah, I remember. Naught can remain concealed from the eye of Horus. Yes, we know. We know. That's a very Gundam Tanaka pose you're doing there. Wait, but from your story, it sounds like I think Justin was the thief that everyone's talking about. I told you, didn't I? The thief who broke into Mr. Drakigan's office didn't attack Justin. He was Justin. But then who attacked him? I don't know. The victim was the Mist-Weaving Phantom this entire time? That'd be an interesting twist. So our culprit's dead? That would be, that would suck. That was the only lead I had to identify the murderer. But if Justin was the one who robbed the office that morning, why would someone attack him? Who else would be up on that catwalk? I got him that job, you know. All those years ago, one of our heists didn't go as planned, and we were all arrested. Justin told me to take a plea deal by letting him take the fall. I was scared of losing everything, so I agreed. When he finally got released from the dungeons, I begged Mr. Drakigan to hire him. I thought I could make it up to him. But then I started hearing about all the robberies happening in the harbor. It matched so closely to the reports back then, but I really didn't want to believe it was him. He had his job at the refinery. He didn't have to steal to survive anymore. But I guess he just couldn't help himself. You were just trying to help him. And now he's dead. Yep, that sucks. False reports. But if Justin was the serial robber, why was he robbing the union offices? That's right. What? Justin wasn't just robbing the merchant ships this time. He also stole administrative documents from the union offices. Why would he do that? I assumed that the Mist-Weaving Phantom was part of a larger plot, and that still could be true. Justin wasn't working alone. He must have been stealing those documents for someone. And whoever that person was, they've been filing these reports of insurrection. Maybe his accomplice betrayed him to keep him quiet. He'd just robbed an Imperial ship that morning. That doesn't make it. Yeah, they don't even have cereal. He's a cereal thief. We're gonna steal their magical frosted flakes. Rika, do you know who he was working for? Did he say anything to you? He didn't, but I know some people he might have talked to. It was some other kids from the orphanage we used to run our robberies with that always hang around the beach area. They like playing around the abandoned house there. An abandoned house on the coastline. Wait a second. Is it a lighthouse? And are we going to go there? This is a deep cut. Are we going to go there and find out all the main characters actually went to the same orphanage? And through the use of certain abilities, they've all lost their memories except one character who didn't bring it up because he didn't think it made sense to bring it up to this point. 10 points to the person who can identify that reference. Are you going to be okay? I can go there with you if you'd like. No, it's okay. You've done more than enough. Just be careful around them. They can get in your face sometimes. I looked at my bodyguard. I wasn't too worried. Thanks for being honest with me, Rika. Just don't push yourself too hard, okay? Hey, is what she said true? Did the City Watch really... Did all of that really happen to you? Yeah. I know I've been really pushy lately. No, you've been nothing but kind and patient with me. I'm really sorry I snapped at you yesterday. You were looking out for me. You didn't deserve that. I've just never seen you like this before. I've been really worried. I really thought I moved past all of this, but it's like everything that happened is replaying in my head. Do you want to talk about it? I think I just want to focus on the case. Tyrion, you're not okay. I know. But I have a job to do. I can't afford to fall apart now. We can talk about everything once this is all over. I can handle this until then. Okay. But I'm always here if you need to talk. Thanks. I'm really glad I get to work with you. These cases wouldn't be nearly as bearable if you weren't here with me. Of course! I love doing this job with you. I really hope you know that. For the first time in the last few days, I cracked a smile. Okay, let's get going. It was time to move to the old abandoned house. Alright, the childhood home. Let's go. Okay, it's not a lighthouse, that's good. We arrived at my old abandoned house. From far away, I could tell it had fallen into a state of disrepair. My mother had always kept our home hidden from the city. I guess she really liked her privacy. Didn't seem like anyone was living there, but the front door was hanging open. Some looters must have gotten to it at some point. Tyrion, are you okay? Yeah, let's look around. I wiped my eyes and began looking around. Looters could be here, I thought. I suddenly heard the sound of glass breaking. I rushed over to the other side of the house and spotted two young teenagers throwing rocks at it. The shattered remains of a window were lying on the ground. The broken window effect. Who the heck is this Yu Hakusho looking bro? Nice one, Gavin. Gavin Cromwell, occupation none, age 16. A local punk who likes to stir up trouble. I remember him from when I used to live here. It seems not a lot has changed. One of the teens, apparently named Gavin, noticed us approaching. Wyatt, we've got company. Huh? Wyatt Miller, occupation none, age 17. I also remember him. Back then, whenever Gavin was causing trouble, Wyatt was never far behind. It seems not a lot has changed there either. I stared blankly at the broken glass laying on the ground. I just stood there for a moment. I felt like I wanted to say something, but nothing came out of my mouth. Instead, I found myself storming towards them. What the hell do you want? Oh, what the hell? Before I even realized what I was doing, I threw a punch straight into Gavin's face. My eyes were slowly tearing up. I was seeing red, as evidenced by my monitor right now. I grabbed Gavin by the collar and lifted him off the ground. Get the hell away from my house! Tyrion? You want to go? If you came looking for trouble, you sure found it. Okay, let's all calm down and stay out of this, you little shit! That comment sobered my rage immediately. I just stepped away from the inevitable bloodbath. Excuse me? What? You got cotton in your ears or something? Yes, actually. Why don't you go and repeat what you said? I said stay out of this, you little shit! 5 minutes later. Oh no. Oh no. 5 minutes later. Celeste? Yes? I'm sorry for losing my temper back there. I didn't mean to drag you into this. It's okay. You're going through a lot right now. Celeste? Yes? I think you might have overdone it a bit. Nah. Celeste? Yes? I don't think he's breathing. Just give him a second. The very bruised and broken form of Gavin began sputtering and wheezing as he regained consciousness. See, he's perfectly fine. You're fine! Wyatt jumped from when our attention turned to him. His legs were trembling, but he was too frozen by fear to run away. Don't bother running. Even with a head start, I'll catch up to you. Anyways, these two are probably Justin's former delinquent friends, right? Are you okay with talking to them? Yes, of course. My emotions were a mess. I'd completely forgotten why we came here in the first place. Would you two happen to know the young man who died at the refinery yesterday? Ugh. These guys are after Justin? He's already dead, ain't he? He's sad and astonished. After Justin? Did Wyatt think we were sent here on someone else's behalf? It might not hurt to play the part to get the information we needed. Don't worry, we're not going to hurt you. We're not going to hurt you anymore. We'd just like to ask you a few questions about Justin. Yeah, sure, man. Whatever you want. All right, you two talk. Gavin's shoulder is bent at a weird angle. I might need to pop his shoulder back into place. It was a little disturbing how nonchalantly she could say things like that. First, you, look at this. What's this? It's an attorney's runestone. It proves that I'm a certified attorney. Oh, you're like one of those criminal lawyers. Well, I didn't see nothing, man. But I'll take the stand if the eye taker needs me to. That's fine. Justin Way. What can you tell me about Justin Way? According to the witness we spoke to, you two seem to be friends. Friends is kind of pushing it. We used to hang back in the day, but we don't know more. It was weird when he started talking to us again. I thought he left for good. But he started talking to you again. Why? Huh, they already know. We didn't go looking for him. He just showed up here. He said he needed to stay at the hideout for a while. I cursed under my breath. I couldn't believe these people were living in my house. You know he's dead, right? You don't exactly need to go looking for him. Are they still trying to collect on his debts? His debts, eh? Justin had some debts. Who were they to? Let's talk about his debts. Wyatt apparently thought we were here on behalf of someone, and from what I'd seen, Justin apparently owed a debt to this person. If this person was some kind of criminal, could they have been his accomplice in the robberies? Did Justin tell you who he owed his debts to? No, man, he didn't say nothing. They might whack me too if I tell them the truth. So he did know. There's no point in playing dumb. Just tell us what he told you. Did he give you a name? Answer the question. The Eye Taker. He owed gold to the Eye Taker. The Eye Taker? Was that some kind of street name? It sounded familiar for some reason. I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd heard it somewhere before. The Eye Taker. What can you tell me about the Eye Taker? Is this a test or something? Yes. Well, it ain't a secret. He's the criminal kingpin of this region. Anything that happens here happens under his watch. So Justin had a debt to a crime lord. Was that why he returned to a life of crime? How did they get into contact? It was when he was locked up in the dungeons. He made a deal when the Eye Taker's shot caller there. Justin didn't say much about it, but I think he got into something deep while he was serving his time. The Eye Taker bailed him out, but that ran a debt that would be collected when he got out. Knowing how the dungeons were, he might have needed the Eye Taker's protection to survive in there. Justin was a remarkable thief. The Eye Taker must have seen that. I could imagine a number of reasons why a crime lord might want to stir up trouble, but I needed something more concrete. What was Justin doing here? You said that Justin was staying in this house. Do you know what he was doing here? I don't know, man. I don't ask nothing. I guess he was back to being the Mistweaver Phantom. Ah. Is there anything you can tell me? I don't know. I guess it was kind of weird that he'd always leave the house but never enter it. What? Gavin said the same thing the other day. We always saw him leave through the front door, but we never saw him enter it. Was Justin sneaking past them? But why would he only do that when he entered the house? Look! That's all I saw! I didn't see the magic cat. I didn't see nothing. I blinked for a moment and took a deep, slow breath. What do you mean by magic cat? Are they gonna off me because I saw it? I had to massage my temples. I felt a migraine coming on. Wyatt, just tell me what you saw. Son of a... I told you to brace yourself. Popping your shoulder back in isn't exactly painless. All right, fine. I saw the magic cat, okay? What magic cat? I saw it walk into the house last week. It looked gross. So I peeked in to see what it was doing. And I saw it. I saw that cat put something in that box using magic. That stuff was crazy. I still don't believe it. Oh, no. And there was the migraine. Okay. And what did this cat look like? It didn't have any hair. It kind of looked like a piece of raw meat. Did he seriously expect me to believe he saw a hairless cat casting magic? It was completely... If you weren't yelling at that animal, I might not have even noticed him. There was an animal up on the catwalk, too? It looked to be some kind of hairless rodent, but it was abnormally large. He was probably shooing it away. Let the cat take the stand! Yes. We need Von Karma here. Oh, what's the matter? Are you going to have the parrot take the stand? Right. That cat was at the refinery when Justin died. That magic cat was at the scene of the murder. Hey, Tyrion, I hope the noise wasn't too... Whoa. Are you okay? What did you say to him? Yo, I didn't say nothing. He just got like that. Show me this box. Sure, whatever you say, man. It was obvious he was just seeing things. Commoners mistook natural phenomena for magic all the time. He probably just thought he saw a magic spell, and the cat just happened to be there. I was under a lot of stress. I almost let myself believe his wild story. It was honestly kind of funny when I thought about it. There was no way this magic cat created... It might not be a migraine, it might just be an aneurysm. It's a lot more busted up than I remember. I walked up to the metal container and tried to open it. The lock was broken, but the metal was so bent that the chest was stuck closed. I spotted something lodged in one of the metal crevices of the chest. Leather strap, oh no. It was lodged in one of the dented crevices. It has ETA engraved at the end of it. Celeste, please scan the room for magical traces. Focus on the metal box. Okay. Oh, wow. There's traces of conjuration all over this metal chest. Cool. Cool. Old house picture. A picture of my old house. There's a large dented metal container. It's stuck shut. There are traces of conjuration magic all over it. I took a picture of the scene with my runestone before slumping towards the ground. I just lay on the floor, motionless. It's Tyrion? The magic cat cast a spell on the magic box. The magic cat cast a spell on the magic box. So, we cool? Yes, Wyatt. We cool. Cool. Wyatt slowly backed out of the house, puzzled by everything. Tyrion, are you okay? I responded with something between a groan and a sob. Okay, you need a break. Let's get you out of here. She lifted me with one arm and began carrying me out of the house like a sack of grain. I would normally object, but at this point, my spirit had just surrendered to whatever was happening. She brought me to the nearby harbor and placed me on a bench overlooking the ocean. There you go. Just breathe in that ocean breeze. I just muttered something incoherent in response. But I admitted that the air was nice here. It brought me back to happier memories. I closed my eyes and took in a deep breath. Oh my. It was probably nothing. It's so cute! Hi there! See? She probably just saw a cute animal on the docks. Her voice seemed to rise an octave higher. It was rare. She was never really one to fawn over animals. She really only got like that whenever she saw a cat. A cat. A cat. Hi, kitty. Wow, back you brute. Away with you. Oh, no. That... that damn cat. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Look at this tiny little angel. This one recognizes royalty when she sees it. Meow. I'll allow it this time. Hey, Celeste. She looks like a stray. She might let you pet her if you give her some food. Oh, I am not a stray. I'm merely independent. It was taking everything I had just to stay calm. I really needed Celeste to leave. You know, they're probably selling some tuna by the fish market nearby. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. I didn't even think of that. I'll be right back. Don't scare her off, okay? Of course. I slowly watched her as she skipped towards the fish market. I waited long enough to make sure that she was out of earshot. All right, you little bastard. What did you do to Justin Way? Wow. What's this, then? That voice. I've only met one other person who could talk with me like this. How are you speaking to me right now? It's a rare gift. I could see the thoughts of any creature, not just a human's. And for some reason, animals were always able to understand me, too. This is amazing. This is amazing. That joke about letting the cat take the stand, what do you... the odds of this happening? I think this might be happening. I think this might be happening. Maybe understanding their language allowed me to communicate with them properly. Either that, or I was finally losing my mind. I honestly wasn't sure at this point. Who are you? Why have you been breaking into my house? That question definitely drew some looks from the people passing by. You might as well put that on Polymarket right now. I have been known by many names, but you may call me Queen, peasant. Queen. Occupation cat, age 8, no other details. As for your house, you need to be more specific. I break into a lot of people's houses. I was tired and frustrated, but this had to be a blessing in disguise. The Eye of Horus only saw truthful thoughts. Animals couldn't lie to me. And despite how articulate they could sound, they were still simple in comparison to humans. Well, cat, look at this. What's this? Some kind of trinket. Her body suddenly froze. She was staring at the small ray of sun being reflected from my runestone. So you seek to torment me again, you luminous orb? She immediately pounced where the light hit the ground and tried to paw at the circle of light. Oh no, it's a laser pointer! Her tiny paws were trying to grasp what wasn't there. Curse your ethereal form, I will find a way to slay you, you specter! She darted from spot to spot as I slowly angled my runestone. This is kind of fun. Why were you at the refinery? I love that it's... Why were you at the refinery? Swear to me! Okay, let's start from the top. Why were you at the refinery yesterday morning? Ah, that building with all of those metal constructs. I was keeping watch over that boy. I needed to make sure he completed his task. How did you know what his task was? Because I gave it to him. What? I gave him the task to rob those documents from Stephanic Dragon. What? I just incoherently stammered for a while before clapping my hands together to stop myself. There you go. That's a very anime thing to do. I just took another long, deep breath. Why would a cat want something as worthless as a few documents? Worthless? I think we both know those documents are quite valuable in the proper hands. I told him he could take the old fool's gold as well, but he left it for some reason. Oh my. It's such a shame what happened to the boy, but he brought it out onto himself. If he'd never disobeyed me, he would still be among the living. I felt that migraine returning. The true killer. Are you saying that you're the one who murdered Justin Way? Well, it was my device that pushed him from that platform. What kind of device was it? What did it do exactly? It allowed him to move from one location to another. They were quite instrumental to the jobs he was completing. There was a flash of magical light centered on his position. It blew apart the guardrail. The problem is that I'm almost sure that it wasn't a spell. It was the effect of some sort of artificery. The device must have been some kind of artificery machine, which is just what that flashback said. That at least explained how she was casting magic. He needed to simply follow the plan. Instead, he tried to betray me at the last moment. Oh, I just noticed the arcane art is question mark. He even tried to pull me in with him. Luckily, the only thing he harmed was my neckband. After he was disposed of, I had to complete the job myself. Luckily, the boy already unlocked... Sorry, I have to take this. What? She didn't respond. She simply looked up at the sky, distracted. As articulate as she was, her understanding was still limited. I would need to work out what she really meant on my own. What was the function of Queen's artificery device? It let him move around from one location to another. Queen's device allowed the wearer to teleport. The device had been allowing Justin to teleport. No wonder he'd been so elusive, just like Robert Denby. The security systems that he bypassed were designed to keep mages from teleporting in, but they didn't stop people from teleporting out. He must have used his skills as the Mistweaver Phantom to break in. He then used his device to make an instantaneous getaway. But if I wanted to use this in court, I would need physical evidence. What is the artificery device? There had to be something I could identify as the device. It's the ring, right? It was the ring. Magical items were more durable and resistant to magical effects. Justin must have been wearing it when he fell into the vat. It dissolved his body, but it couldn't dissolve the magical ring he was wearing. But if he was wearing it when he died, that could only mean one thing. You didn't kill Justin Way, did you? No. When did I ever say that? She spoke so articulately that I almost forgot. Animals tended to be extremely literal compared to humans. You said that Justin died because he disobeyed you. What exactly did he do? He used the device when he wasn't supposed to. He didn't disappear like he usually did. Instead, there was an explosion of energy. I was almost caught by it. I barely escaped the blast. Wait, he tried to teleport while he was on the catwalk? Why would he do that? I have no idea. The results speak to how foolish that was. Regardless of why, that must have been the magical effect that Rika and the Crown Prince saw. They didn't see him getting blasted with a spell, and they saw him cast a spell on himself using his ring. But how would that destroy the guardrail? Did the ring malfunction and create a small explosion? No, something like that should have left traces of magic, and there weren't any on the catwalk. I would need to know exactly what kind of magic the ring could cast. Only the Inquisition had access to mages who could analyze it. I would be showing my hand to Steelwind, but I didn't have a choice. I wanted to use this in court. Thank you for answering my questions, Queen, but I have one last question. Who are you really working for? What are you on about? I am the brains of this operation. Do you expect me to believe that you're behind those false reports of insurrection? I don't concern myself with the minutiae of my underlings. The lion does not concern himself. All you need to know is that I'll be standing at the top of this city by the end of this. I knew it. She may not have been able to lie, but she was grossly misunderstanding her role in this. But someone trained you, didn't they? You knew what the objective was. Trained? I'm insulted. I was debriefed. It's quite strange, really. He spoke to me in the same way that you are now. What? In any case, it seems I must be going now. He seems quite anxious about you. Wait, stop! I tried to grab her, but she gracefully leapt over me. She pivoted off my back before landing softly on the bench behind me. Ha! Try again in 10 years, boy! Laughing triumphantly, she scurried away into the city. Oh, come on! I told you not to scare her off! Celeste arrived back wheeling a 10-foot-long tuna in a wheelbarrow. I blinked at it for a moment before looking back at the city. There were more important things to focus on right now. Whoever was behind this had been speaking to that cat, and they were using an ability similar to mine. Was there someone else in Oranak who could use the Eye of Horus? If only I'd caught her before she ran. I might have been able to get more information out of her. Are you okay? There was no helping it. I just need to work with the only lead I had. We need to talk to Steelwind. Can someone tell me why the mage girl is roasting a giant fish outside? Ignore that, Orym. What did the diviners say? She's cooking it for herself, okay. Turns out the kid was right. That ring's artificery, and it's pretty sophisticated too. Its functions got scrambled by the chemicals in that vat, but we were able to figure out that it triggers 2 spells. 2 spells? Yeah. One spell teleports the caster, the other summons a target to their location. Teleport, school, conjuration. Duration instantaneous, everything else is none. Allows the caster to teleport to any position within 100 miles. If the caster targets a spell, focus, or magic circle designed to receive teleportation, the range at which they can teleport is unlimited. If the position that the caster tries to teleport is occupied by any physical object, they may briefly appear at that position before the spell fails. Ooh. Summon. Conjuration. Everything else is the same. Allows the caster to summon an object to a position within 15 feet of them. The target object must be attuned to the caster's magic using a spell focus. If the target position is occupied by any physical object, the summoned object may briefly appear at that position before the spell fails. It's kind of weird, honestly. Artificery fitted into a ring usually only has one function. Why is that? Unlike spells cast by a mage, Artificery can't intuitively choose which spell to cast. Usually, devices with multiple spells will have some kind of switch or multiple buttons. What about our runestones? They project a visual interface for us to use. Yes, but a system as sophisticated as that wouldn't fit in a ring like this. Either way, Justin must have been using the ring to teleport away from his crimes. But what was the function of the second spell? Do you know what target the summoning spell is linked to? No idea. It wasn't physically damaged, but the magic's too disrupted. It's been fading since the accident, too. We're lucky we could even identify the spells at all. If the kid had figured that out a day later, it might have been too late. Which raises the question as to how you figured this out. Mr. Cuthbert, it was my resources that allowed you to analyze the ring in the first place. I believe I deserve to know why. A fair point, but I'll only tell you on one condition. I don't want Miss Orica Tudor to be implicated in any of the crimes of the Mistweaving Phantom. Fine, but only if she isn't the Phantom herself. She's not. It was Justin Way. What? How certain are you of this? I'm fairly certain. It follows everything I've learned so far. The prosecutor cursed under her breath. That only means the location of the Crown Prince's cargo has been lost with him. Oh, speak of the devil. From behind Steelwind, the Crown Prince began approaching us eagerly, but he paused when he noticed her. Okay, I know it's me, but I can't eat this much fish by... Oh. Celeste froze as she saw the Crown Prince approaching Steelwind. The Crown Prince had told us earlier how much Steelwind hated him. The prosecutor raised an eyebrow at all of us. She probably saw the looks on our faces. What are you all looking at? She slowly turned her head before completely whipping around at the sight of the Crown Prince. He's standing right behind me, isn't he? Is that what we're going for? Your Highness? Why is he here? Wait, she's happy? She's happy and scared? And she has the anime embarrassed look? Huh? What? The last thing I want to do is disturb you doing your work, but I wanted to see you. Oh, okay. I looked over to the commander. He looked like he would have pulled out a bag of popcorn. I wanted to apologize to you in person. I can't believe they're pulling you into this nonsense with the arcane crystals. No, it's my duty as your queen. Sorry, I meant wife. Fiancé. Oh boy. I can't believe they're stirring up so much trouble over this. How difficult it is to find one giant chest. Oh no. It's not like she likes him or anything, but yeah, she's... He just got done saying she hates him. What's this? I've played Dark Souls. I know where the amazing chest is. Wait a minute. Where is the Crown Prince's stolen cargo? Oh, it's at the house. The giant chest you mentioned didn't look like this, did it? No. It was definitely made from a different material, and it wasn't nearly so damaged. Although, this chest is suspiciously large. Do you know what was inside it? No, it was too dented. We couldn't open it. Then it might be worth looking into. There's an old abandoned house near the forests along the ocean side. You'll find it there. Orin, since you clearly have so much time to stand around gawking, you'll be personally responsible for looking into this suspicious container. And she's back. What was that? Nothing. Thank you so much, Lady Steelwind. I already know you're busy with Von Sanctus's trial. Oh, well, the stolen shipment is related to the trial. What? Oh, I meant... Are you okay? The Crown Prince stepped closer to her, a concerned look on his face. Is it just me, or is it absurdly hot in here? Really? I don't feel anything. Although, your face is looking a little flushed right now. Oh, Scaled Lord, no! It's fine, really. You still look as beautiful as always. She's gone. She's gone. He broke her. I'm going to get some, water? Yes. The stone wall that was the prosecutor nearly walked into a pole before scurrying away to a nearby washroom. As she left, the Crown Prince exhaled. I'm sorry you two had to see that. What? It's as I said before. She absolutely detests me. You saw it, didn't you? She could barely look me in the eye. Oh my. I suppose you missed it. She does tend to be subtle about her feelings. As subtle as a brick to the face. Anyways, I had clear proof that the guardrail broke because of Justin's actions, not direct against negligence. But that somehow felt unsatisfying in a way. I still never found out who Queen was working with. It's almost like that's not going to be enough to get my client off on this case. He felt like such a massive piece of the puzzle. It may have just been my arrogance, but I never imagined I wouldn't catch him. I could just investigate him after the trial was done, but my resources would be limited as an attorney. Was this really okay? Hey. Hi. I'm just checking in. You look really tired. Sorry. Don't apologize. You've been running yourself ragged since we got up. I guess it is getting late. Let's head back to the room for now. I can work through everything we've learned there. We arrived back at the tavern room. The lobby was still packed with people waiting for the blockade to end. Despite myself, the soft mattress of the bed was just too appealing. Can I just quick say, this case is great so far. Also, this whole game is great so far. I love the setting. I love the characters. This game, it's primo. Love it. Glad they're making a sequel. I could probably work through all of this while lying down. We're going to have like a Kyle Hyde moment here. The soft linens felt like a cloud trying to engulf me. I needed to focus. I couldn't... What was I thinking about again? Sleep.
What if...
Yes. I fell asleep immediately. Okay. I'll think about it later.
Come on, put your backs into it. It's pretty stuck tight, sir. We might need a mage to transmit it open. Bah, why use magic when some elbow grease will do the trick? Come on, open, you piece of junk! Ha! Didn't I tell you? All it took was a little... Boss, we need to get out of here.
What?
Everyone, get out! We need to get as far away from this thing as possible!
Is he gonna explode? I'm here. What happened?
The kid was right. The energy cells were in there. But someone wrecked another device to it. It could be a bomb.
I'm going to take a look at it.
Are you crazy? I just told you it could be a bomb!
If it's allowed to detonate, we'll lose any evidence pointing to who did this. Next time, we might not be so fortunate.
Then I'll go.
Commander, you can't possibly expect me to...
Hey, I'm just looking out for myself. There is a long list of people who'd have my head if I let the future queen get blown up.
We'll go together then.
What? I just said...
With all due respect, Commander, you're not great with artificery. With the two of us there, we'll stand a better chance. A compromise is an agreement where neither party is pleased.
Have it your way.
Another nightmare overtook my sleep. I clutched the note tightly in my hands as I read it. I'm sorry, Tyrion. There was so much that I wanted to tell you. So much that I wanted to show you. But I'm afraid I was never meant to walk this path with you. The world is bleak, merciless, and unforgiving. But don't let it extinguish the flickering flame I can see within you. Use my eyes. Peer beyond the divine gate just as I once did. Use it to build your own path to happiness. Her eyes? I don't understand. It didn't matter. All I had to do was stop the execution. If I could just distract the knights long enough, I could save her and we could run away. We'd have to abandon our home, but there was nothing she couldn't do. I tried to sprint towards the gallows, but a knight grabbed my arm and lifted me back.
Hey kid, you can't cross this point.
I tried to break his grip by striking him with my bare fists. They just fruitlessly clanged against his plate armor.
Hey, stop that!
It wasn't doing anything, but I was in a frenzy. I just threw punch after punch. My knuckles were starting to bleed. Having had enough, the knight pinned me to the ground.
Damn kid!
I desperately struggled against him to no avail. From this position, I had no choice but to watch what was happening.
Wait, stop!
I made eye contact with my mother one last time. Her body went limp. I stared blankly at the hanging corpse.
No, this isn't... Mom?
I held her note tightly in my hands, the paper nearly crumpling in my grip. I felt a comforting yet fleeting warmth from it. I was all alone now. Tyrion? Celeste, I snapped back awake. It was just another nightmare. It took me a while before I realized that tears were streaming down my face. I quickly tried to bring up my sleeve to wipe them away. But I realized that Celeste was firmly gripping my hand.
Why are you...
Sorry. You were kind of shouting in your sleep. You seemed to calm down whenever I held your hand. So I've been doing that.
Oh.
Tyrion, are you okay? I know you're not, but it's fine. It's not fine. Does it have something to do with what happened to your mom? For the last 2 nights, you've been calling out for her in your sleep. Please, just talk to me. I didn't have many people in my life after I left, or no. I only had Miss Tamora, and my mother's death had always weighed heavily on her, too. Game is rated MA for, yes, for premarital handholding. But Celeste had been there since I started my career. It all happened a long time ago. I lived here together with my mother in that old house. She was a merchant and a mage. Your mom was a mage? I guess the gift of magic skipped my generation. I could never use it. About 10 years ago, my mother's business partner was found murdered, and they found traces of magic at the crime scene. They thought your mom did it. Miss Tamora was my mom's attorney at the time. She did everything she could, but they couldn't find the real killer. I tried to stop her execution, but my voice started breaking. Tyrion. I'm sorry, Celeste. What? I was saving people from being killed like my mother was. I thought I'd finally moved on, but I'm back in Orono, and those feelings are just as fresh as my mind as they were back then. What was she like? What? What was your mom like? I thought for a moment. She was amazing. She raised me by herself while working as a fortune teller. A fortune teller? I know how it sounds, but she wasn't a scam artist. People would come to her with all sorts of problems. They'd tell her about their relationship issues, their financial troubles, even their existential crises. By the time she pulled a single tarot card, she already knew what they needed to hear. Tarot readings are funny like that. You can assign any meaning you want to them. Sometimes she'd do them for me too. I always had something on my mind back then. Stupid kid stuff. But she always knew just what to say to make me feel better. It wasn't until years afterward that I realized she had the Eye of Horus too. I think she always felt bad that she was working all the time. On her days off, she'd always take me out with her. We'd eat at restaurants, we'd play chess by the docks. She's the one who taught me how to play. Sometimes we'd sail out at night and watch the lights of the city. Those memories are still happy for me, but they remind you of what you've lost. Yeah. I still feel like I'm the same powerless kid from 10 years ago. I'm really sorry, Celeste. I know that I've been taking that out on you. I get it. I know what it's like to lose someone like that. If it weren't for you, I'd still be trapped in that terrible night. You gave me my life back. Celeste slowly clasped my hand within hers. It was warm and comforting. Had this been the warmth I've been feeling for the last few nights? I know you're dealing with a lot right now, but just let me be here for you. I could feel myself dozing off. I had to snap myself awake. Sorry, the last few days have been a lot. It's okay. Just rest now. I'll stay with you for as long as you need me to. Ugh. I'm also feeling pretty tired, though. I'll just rest my eyes a bit. For the first time since I arrived in Orono, I'd finally received a good night's rest. I woke up the next morning feeling well rested, almost too much in a way. The pillows and blankets felt like warm clouds embracing me. I didn't want to leave. That's what you said last night, too. Celeste, are you there? My hand felt warm. I could feel my heart stop. Celeste? What do you want? Her eyes slowly opened. Through half-lidded eyes, she scanned her surroundings. We both immediately jumped out of bed. So, you're okay now, right? You seem to be doing better. Yeah, thank you for last night. The world stumbled out of my mouth before I realized how poorly I'd phrased that. I just cleared my throat. We should get ready for the trial. Yep, the trial. Let's go do that. I'd lost a lot of time, but it was my own fault for ignoring my fatigue for so long. I would just need to play this by ear. That's great. Hey, what's up? Is something wrong? No, not at all. Yeah, why would anything be wrong? It seemed we both silently agreed not to acknowledge what had happened. That was probably making things worse in hindsight. I see. Are you okay? It's just a lot to take in. I never would have guessed that one simple accident would turn into some gigantic conspiracy. And to think Justin was the mist-weaving phantom this entire time. You know about that story? I picked up some bits and pieces from the residents here and there. It was clearly a dark time from the city, from the sounds of it. All the more reason to be grateful for your acquittal. Are you sure you're not getting ahead of yourself? I don't think so. We have proof that Justin destroyed the guardrail using his magic ring. You had nothing to do with it, what happened. It was really just an accident in every sense. I had to admit that I shared some of Drakegan's uneasiness. The Inquisition and Kingsguard were moving frantically when we left the tavern this morning. It surely had something to do with the stolen cargo, but something seemed off about their movements. It seemed like they were mobilizing for more than just a retrieval. I suppose it didn't matter either way. No matter what they had in store, I would acquit Drakegan. Court is now resumed for the trial of Stefanik Drakegan. During our last proceedings, the defense argued that the victim's death was the result of murder, not simple negligence. This was supported by a witness who claimed to have seen a spell cast on the victim before his death. Your Honor, over the last day, we've investigated the crime further, and new facts have come to light. Nevertheless, I maintain that my client is not to blame for Justin's death. Unfortunately, the blame lies with Justin himself. Is that so? Your Honor, the victim was wearing a magical ring that allowed him to cast conjuration magic. It seems that he entered the refinery in order to steal business documents from my client, and the ring was meant to aid in that. After he had stolen the documents, he activated the ring on the refinery catwalk. It malfunctioned in some way, causing an explosion of spatial energy. That energy is what broke apart the guardrail. Are you trying to say that the victim was the culprit behind the most recent string of robberies? Unfortunately, I am, Your Honor. Is that it, Mr. Cuthbert? What are you talking about, Steelwind? It's obvious that my client didn't have any hand in Justin's death. And do you have any evidence of that? Masorica Tudor saw a magical effect blast the guardrail apart. We've been over this. Miss Tudor had every reason to lie in her testimony last session. She didn't know about Justin's ring. How could she have known to lie about something like that? You're assuming that she didn't know about it beforehand. The two of them were known friends. It's not implausible that he showed it to her. Well, what about the Crown Prince? He saw the magical effect as well. For obvious reasons, the Crown Prince can't be called to testify in a case of this magnitude. As far as the courts are concerned, you can't use his testimony as evidence. Well, that's crap. That's a bunch of crap. I don't support that. Excuse me. My client needs somebody to help him here. She was being unreasonably obtuse, even more so than usual. What was she doing? On the subject of the victim, we've also discovered new facts regarding his actions that morning. The prosecution would like to call Lucio Steelwind to the stand. The Grand General? As many of you know, the serial robber stole cargo from an Imperial ship on the morning of the accident. We've since located the cargo, and what we found paints quite the picture of the victim's intentions that day. I see. Bailiff, please escort the Grand General to the stand. Okay, I guess I'll just say it. Witness, please state your name and...
Are you really going to waste my time with that? We all know who I am.
Look, I just...
Enough. I'm giving my testimony now.
Witness testimony.
Justin Way had been committing a string of robberies in Orono Harbor, the last of which included an Imperial shipment of high-capacity energy cells. Way was working with insurrectionists who provided him with an advanced magical ring. He used that ring during his robberies. One of the ring's functions allowed him to teleport himself. The other allowed him to summon an item to him. Way had taken the stolen energy cells and placed a bomb within them. He was going to summon it into the refinery and detonate it.
What? There was a bomb inside that thing? Father, by the scaled Lord, why would you say that?
What do you want about? I gave the testimony as you asked.
Yes, but I thought you had enough sense to leave certain details out of it.
What details?
Insurrectionists were planning to bomb the industrial district? How could a commoner brazenly rob an Imperial ship? Is the kingdom really so powerless? That boy was a thief and a terrorist. He deserved what happened to him. Those details. So they really were planning to use those energy cells to make a bomb. I can't believe Justin would agree to something like this. He worked with the people there. Who would have anything to gain from doing something like this? Who indeed, right? Was Lucio trying to manufacture a catastrophe so that he could march his soldiers in Orono? No. I needed to think this through rationally. Both of the Steel Winds have been acting strange lately. There was something else happening here. I guess it didn't matter. I think it did. Well, let's talk to him. You know? The man himself. Yes. I've learned that Justin was quite skilled at breaking into secure places, but I never imagined he'd be able to break into an Imperial ship without being caught.
He shouldn't have. The men stationed there were negligent. At least that's the most generous interpretation of what happened.
Generous? Wei was used to working with insurrectionists. Do you have any proof to substantiate that claim?
What other explanation is there?
Well, you might want to stage a catastrophe in the heart of Von Sanctus's territory. That would let you march your soldiers right into the land of one of your rivals. Just to name one possible explanation. Mr. Cuthbert! The prosecution does not refute the defense's statement. The prosecution also does not conclude that the victim was part of any insurrectionist group. Ah. One of the ring's functions allowed him to teleport himself, the other allowed him to summon an item to him. Well, that's true. Could he summon any item he wanted?
He would need to affix a specific kind of energy crystal to the object he wanted to summon. We found such a crystal attached to the metal chest containing the bomb.
There's no doubt that the ring was set to summon that chest. How can you be so sure? I thought the ring was too damaged by the vat chemicals to identify that. Luckily, the crystal attached to the bomb was not. We were able to verify its connection to the ring, however disrupted it was.
It was clear that he meant to summon that chest into the refinery. It was only out of sheer luck that he died before that could happen.
We're lucky he never got the chance to summon that container. The results would have been catastrophic. Why are you so sure that he was planning to target the refinery? He could have been planning to rob my client and place the bomb somewhere else. Arcane refineries, such as your client's, create volatile yet controlled chemical reactions. Those high-capacity energy cells alone had enough of an explosive yield to level a city block. If detonated near the refinery, the ensuing explosion would have been exponentially larger. That's terrifying.
From the way the bomb was constructed, it seemed that it was meant to be as destructive as possible. Justin Wei could have transported the bomb to his position at any moment. I find it difficult to believe that he'd risk bringing the bomb into the refinery if that weren't his intention.
Was Justin really planning to blow up the refinery? I don't know, and it's not as if he can tell us. Still, Lucio is making a lot of assumptions about what happened. Yeah, I guess he's the type of person to jump to conclusions. He could be wrong about a lot of things. Yeah, the insurrectionist group, right? What do we got here for that? Let's see. Union tensions. Miss Orca's past, the witness testimony. Yeah, breaking into the magic lady, they also broke into Stefanik. Alright. Arrested insurrectionists. Well, yeah, what about the arrested insurrectionists? That seems to be a problem. Let's see. Objection! No? No? Okay. Well, that proves anything. He was working with insurrectionists. Well, okay, I wish this makes sense though, because he's working with the insurrectionists, supposedly, but yet he's been robbing people who are insurrectionists, you know? Summon an object. It must be attuned. May appear briefly before the spell fails. Spell. Okay. So this was our phantom. Got it. And that. Rest. Okay. Is also there. Spell destroy the guardrail and push Justin into the vat. Still in arcane crystals. Attuned to evocation. In the wrong hands, those crystals could produce an explosion capable of destroying a city block. This theft occurred the morning of Justin's death. It's evocation, though, right? The results would have been catastrophic. Here's the thing, though. The evocation, is that it?
Objection!
No. Okay, never mind. That doesn't prove anything. Got it. We know the leather strap. Is it Vieta or Violetta? I wonder. There's a large jetted metal container. Right. Let's see. Breaking into the... Took... They've also targeted individuals who've been plotting against the king. Here we go. What about this?
Objection!
No? What the heck am I supposed to present here? I mean, that's the crux of the problem we have here, right? That he's saying he's working with the insurrectionists, but we have very obvious, clear proof that he's not working with insurrectionists. You know what I mean? That's the thing that is weird. I'm trying to think. So advanced, he was using that ring. I'm trying to think. What? We also know he stole from Von Sanctus quite a bit. So we got that. Let's see. It's not the shipping report, is it? No? I mean, it doesn't seem like there's any, yeah, I am kind of at a loss here. He never got a chance to summon that container. The results would have been catastrophic. Traces of conjuration magic. So that means it was summoned, right? Is that it? Objection! Okay, we got it. Finally. Okay. Sheesh. Am I too far ahead? Or like, is that the problem? I've jumped too far ahead? Like, mentally? Because it's like, no, stop saying he's working with the insurrectionists because he's the one getting insurrectionists arrested. That doesn't make any sense. Stop it. But no, I don't know what to say. Okay. Grand General, the ring allowed the victim to teleport himself and summon objects to him. Do both of these magical effects belong to the school of conjuration magic? Yes, they both involve instantaneous spatial movement. Then I'm afraid you were wrong about what Justin did that day. He did summon the bomb to the refinery that day. Or at least he attempted to.
What are you talking about? The bomb was found in that old abandoned house. You were the one who alerted us to that.
That may be, but we identified that there were traces of conjuration magic on that box. Justin's ring was damaged in the accident. It couldn't have been activated at any point after he died. He must have attempted to summon the bomb that morning.
Objection!
Justin could have simply summoned the box to the abandoned house before he planted it at the refinery. I have a witness who can confirm that the metal chest has been in the abandoned house since the night before the accident. Then it must have been teleported in preparation for the bombing. No one knew about that house other than the victim and a few delinquents, Steelwind. They wouldn't carelessly move around a dangerous bomb without a good reason. If it had been summoned, why was it in the abandoned house instead of the refinery? Why wasn't the bomb found in the refinery? Because something... The bomb, was... Let's see. Justin Way died? The summoning spell shut down? No, Steelwind had a point. If Justin attempted to summon the bomb, why was it found in my house? The energy... The ring was activated. Summoning spell succeeded. Well, here's the thing, though, because it said that if it gets summoned, okay? If it gets summoned, and there's something in the way, it will appear briefly and then fail, right? Summoning spell shut down? Just an attempt to summon the bomb. Why was it found in my house? The bomb was activated. Summoning spell failed? The ring was activated. The summoning spell failed. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. Because the summoning spell ultimately failed. He tried to summon that large chest on the catwalk, but there wasn't enough room. The spell failed, and the resulting spatial shunting damaged the chest and blew apart the guardrail. You've contradicted yourself, Mr. Cuthbert. And how's that? Your entire defense is based on the testimony of Masorka Tudor. I went looking for him and spotted him on the catwalk. He looked like he was talking to someone. That's when I saw a flash of magical light. Justin got blasted with a spell. It ripped apart the guardrail he was leaning on, and he fell into that vat of chemicals. She thought the victim had been blasted with a spell. If what you're saying is true, then that would imply that Justin summoned the chest right onto his location. It's possible that Masorka was mistaken about that one detail. Your entire case is predicated on her testimony. If even you don't have confidence in her testimony, I don't think you have much of a case. But let's assume that Justin did summon the chest at his location. That also contradicts Miss Tudor's testimony. Summoning the chest at his position wouldn't have just inflicted damage on the guardrail. Attempting to summon that large container would have inflicted damage on him as well. Now you could argue that the spatial shunting was what ultimately pushed the victim off the catwalk. But in our last session, you were adamant that the victim fell in after the rail was destroyed. I did say that, but that's also ignoring the fact that Mr. Way had been using that ring for several months. He was a master thief and had been expertly using that ring to escape the sights of his robberies. He would know the dangers of spatial shunting. She was actually making a lot of great points, and they didn't seem to contradict anything we'd learned so far. Rika seemed so sure of what she saw. The Crown Prince even confirmed it in what he told us. They both even mentioned a prism-shaped flash of light when the guardrail broke. They had to have seen Justin attempt to summon that metal container. What was going on? I needed to think through this rationally and review everything. With all these facts laid out, there had to be an explanation that was consistent with all of them. It was difficult to get into Justin's headspace before the accident happened, but I did know one thing. He used the device when he wasn't supposed to. He didn't disappear like he usually did. Instead, there was an explosion of energy. I was almost caught by it. I barely escaped the blast. Wait, he tried to teleport while he was on the catwalk? According to Queen, he activated the ring on the catwalk. How did Justin use the ring when he was on the catwalk? She seemed to think that he was trying to teleport, but from what happened afterwards, he had probably activated the summoning spell.
Maybe.
Queen... Let's see, Justin Way attempted teleportation and summoning. How about that? They were both true. Yes, okay, yeah, that makes sense, because he was doing it both at the same time, and that would have caused a problem. Steelwind, the ring must have been designed to activate the teleportation spell and the summoning spell at the same time. Justin wasn't affected by the spatial shunting because he was being teleported elsewhere. That's an awfully large leap in logic. I doubt you have anything to substantiate it. You said it yourself, didn't you?
It's kind of weird, honestly. Artificery, fitted into rings, usually has only one function.
Why is that? Unlike spells cast by a mage, Artificery needs to differentiate which spell to cast. Usually, devices with multiple spells will have some kind of switch or multiple buttons. Oh man, I want it so bad. I want to call the cat to the stand so bad. Please, game, believe in the heart of the cat. There was no need for the ring to differentiate between which spell to cast. Both spells were linked to each other, and they were being activated at the same time. That would explain Miss Tudor's testimony. When the summoning spell failed, his teleportation must have failed as well. He must have tried to catch himself on the guardrail that had been there moments ago. But it had been destroyed by the failed summoning. He fell right into the vat. If your theory is true, why would he try to plant the bomb on the catwalk? That would be the worst place to put it. She did have a point there. If Justin had been using the ring to teleport during his thefts, he should have known about spatial shunting. It was obvious that the large metal container wouldn't fit on the catwalk. And Drakegan's office was close by too. If he wanted to plant the bomb, a closed room would have been far better. Why did Justin use the ring when he was on the catwalk? Why would he activate the ring when he should have known it would fail? Justin Way had no knowledge of the summoning spell. He didn't know how it worked. He didn't know. What? He didn't know the ring would summon the bomb to his position.
That's ridiculous. How could he possibly not know? He'd been using that ring in his robberies for months.
Someone else gave him that ring, Grand General. They could have only told him about the teleportation function, not the summoning function. For whatever reason, he decided to teleport while he was on the catwalk. Queen even said he activated it when he wasn't supposed to. Where was Justin supposed to be when he activated the ring? That must imply that he was expected to activate the ring somewhere else. Justin Way was supposed to be inside Drakegan's office. If someone had really wanted to plant an explosive in the refinery, the best place would have been in my client's office. Whoever gave Justin that ring expected him to activate the ring while he was in there. He would have teleported away, none the wiser to the fact that he was switching places with the bomb. But again, he's been using the ring for months. I find it difficult to believe the ring would have a summon function if its only purpose was to summon the bomb. You're right, he must have been summoning something else to each of the places he was robbing. Oh man, was it the false evidence of treason? He was summoning false evidence of treason. He was planning false evidence of treason. What? As some of the crime scenes, the City Watch found chests containing weapons, explosives, and illegal communications. The victims were never the ones who reported the robberies. It was always someone else. At first, I thought the serial robber was trying to reveal dissidents, but the opposite was true. Whoever was behind this was using Justin to frame people for treason, and they were targeting members of the workers' unions. Grand General, you knew something was strange, didn't you? That's why you took the victims into protective custody instead of charging them with treason.
I don't answer to you, boy.
That might as well have been an admission. Either way, it seemed like I finally found a proper motive. Someone was paying Justin to plant false evidence on members of the workers' unions. This person was also filing false reports to make it sound like there were tensions between them and Drakigan. Was the bomb also a part of this plot? Were they trying to raise tensions further by causing a catastrophe? Who would benefit from something like that? It couldn't have been Lucio. If it were, he would have simply charged the union members with treason. Von Sanctus didn't make any sense either. He might have had something to gain from demonizing the workers' unions, but he's the one who would have had the most to lose from that bomb destroying his land. Could it be Sybil? I didn't know that much about her personally, but all I knew was that her noble house controlled the judicial and legislative branches. Did she have something to gain from orchestrating this? No matter who it was, I still didn't have any evidence connecting them to the robberies. That's why they had Justin do their dirty work. They did everything they could to cover up their involvement. The only connection I had was Queen. Oh, it's coming, isn't it? It's coming close. It's gonna happen. The mastermind behind this obviously never considered that someone could talk to her. But according to her, they were also able to talk to her like I could. I doubted that the judge would suspend a trial so I could try to catch a wandering cat. Well, physical evidence was related to Queen. There had to be something that could tell me who was working with her. The, leather strap? This leather strap. Justin dropped it before he fell into the vat, and the Crown Prince mentioned that Justin grabbed the animal before he fell. He simply needed to follow the plan. Instead, he tried to betray me at the last moment. He even tried to pull me in with him. Luckily, the only thing harmed was my neckband. Justin grabbed Queen before he activated the ring. He must have ripped a collar that was around her neck. This strap had the numerals 6 on it. No, it doesn't. What evidence is related to this leather scrap? Or so I thought, but there was something else I found that changed the meaning of that engraving. This strap of leather has Edda engraved into it. They were 2 halves of a whole. 2 leather straps formed to create what looks to be a pet collar. One piece is engraved with the letters V and was dropped by Justin before he fell into the vat. The other piece is engraved with Edda and was found lodged in the dented metal container in my house. Why does this strap have 11037 written on it? Oh man, a series of numbers. Clearly, Makoto Naegi is the murderer. None of those spelled Queen, but it's possible she responded to a different name. Who said a name with V and Edda in it? I feel like I heard a name like that before. Violetta? Who said a name with V and Edda in it? Who? I don't remember. I don't remember. Was it Coraline? Yeah, okay. Okay. I will be, that was a 100% guess. I did not remember because that was a week ago. Why did indulge him, Lloyd? He seems harmless. Coraline! Anyways, you're waiting for Violetta to return, aren't you? Von Sanctus was waiting for Violetta. Could that be the name engraved on her collar? But how could he even be involved in this? Even he wouldn't be insane enough to blow up his own city over a feud with Drakigan. No, there had to be something more to this. And there was only one way to find out. Your Honor, I believe there's only one person who can truly tell us the true state of insurrection in Orono. And it's the ruling lord, Lloyd Von Sanctus.
Lloyd, are you joking?
Is something wrong, Grand General?
It's nothing.
Without waiting for the bailiff, the Grand General marched away from the stand and took a seat in the gallery. Thank you for taking the stand today, Your Grace. I don't see why I have to take the stand. Surely the reports from the City Watch should be enough. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't expect you to know much about what goes on in your land. You little brat! I think what Mr. Cuthbert means to say is that you are able to provide a more valuable perspective as the city's ruling lord. No, he meant it. He meant it. I mean, he enjoys rage baiting the nobles. We already know this. I'm sure you can understand, seeing as how confusing these reports of insurrection have been. Very well. I'll tell you exactly what the state of insurrection is in my city. Witness testimony. My city watch has been hard at work apprehending these insurrectionists, and we've been doing so with no collateral damage. They've been growing in number, however, no doubt because these unions have been feeding the people's discontent. From what I understand, they were even planning to plant a bomb in the refinery. Thank the scaled lord, nobody was hurt. Tensions have been getting worse and worse, and the steel winds have only been feeding the flames. Well, he's obviously wrong. We know that someone is trying to frame the unions. Yeah, but we don't have any hard evidence to prove it yet. Until we can do that, it's our word against his. But if I'm lucky, his words will give me exactly what I need. All right, let's go. My city watch, let's see. Your city watch? They are my men. They only succeed under my leadership. Clearly. I know someone like you can't appreciate what I do for the people, but I should be commended for what I'm doing. I've peacefully coordinated the arrests of countless dangerous individuals, and I've done so without any bloodshed. That's more than I can say for some of the other noble houses. He was obviously just stroking his ego, but I couldn't discount the fact that the Orono City Watch technically answered to him. That would have definitely made those frame jobs easier if he were involved. Maybe if we blow up the place where we work, we'll get raises. The workers, apparently. Sound logic. Sound logic, yes. By feeding discontent, do you mean that they were advocating for basic human rights? I'm not in the mood to have this argument with you again, boy. You seem to like evidence so much, so here you have it. Ever since those unions popped up, the number of people being charged with treason has also risen. And all of those suspects were new members of the various workers' unions. Yeah, I wonder why. Say what you want. Your ridiculous conspiracy theories have no place here. You would see about that. Understand? Okay. I'm sure it's a big relief for you, Von Sanctus. You seem to have gotten it into your head that I was somehow involved in this plot. But what would I have to gain from something like this? I may not own many of the businesses in Orono's industrial district, but it's still my land. I would have the most to lose from orchestrating a catastrophe like this. That was still the one element that didn't make sense to me, and he knew that. Tyrion is going to send this guy to prison, then go slam down a case of super male vitality. Oh, it's a bunch of crap. Was he truly not involved, or was there some other reward he would reap from the destruction of the industrial district? Tensions have been getting worse and worse. I won't deny that, at least in regards to the Grand General, but I doubt someone of your standing would honestly care. I resent that remark, boy. You may think you can fool the gallery, but I know your real opinions. If it weren't for the workers' unions encroaching on your businesses, I bet you wouldn't give a damn about these tensions. Dissidence affects far more than just the commoners, boy. It has vast implications on every aspect of trade throughout the city. Assuming such dissidence actually exists. I've seen it, and I have the trade records to prove it. This so-called mist-weaving phantom stole several weapons and other dangerous items. We've had to massively restrict all potentially dangerous items coming into the harbor. It's been an absolute headache for our military as well. We've had to massively restrict all potential dangerous items coming into the harbor because of it. Well, what about the stolen arcane crystals? Objection! Hang on a second. Von Sanctus, why did you agree to testify today? Why? You wished for me to testify on the state of insurrection in Orono, did you not? I was merely doing my civic duty. Well, I think you took the stand for another reason. You wanted to reclaim control of the narrative right in front of the people in the gallery. Think what you will. This is just baseless slander. I must agree, Mr. Cuthbert. Please refrain from insulting the current witness. He took the stand at your request. I guess I can't disagree with that, Your Honor. But the witness made one mistake. He lied in order to perpetuate that narrative. Again with the baseless accusations? Von Sanctus, you testified that you had to restrict all dangerous items coming into Orono, but you were the one who ordered those high-capacity energy cells from the Crown Prince. Those same energy cells were used to construct the bomb Justin is supposed to plant at the refinery. How did you know about that? You really don't leave your manor much, do you? I collected statements from the Crown Prince about the shipment. I was even the one that found the bomb before it could be set off. What? Arya, why wasn't I informed about this? It wasn't directly relevant to your case. I have no doubt that you were restricting trade in an attempt to pretend you were doing something about the thefts and insurrectionists. You must have ordered those salves from the Crown Prince knowing that it would be difficult for anyone to get to his testimony. Luckily, I have a way with people. More like Aster is just a giant fanboy. Regardless, one fact is clear. You didn't just restrict all of the items coming into Orono, you also ignored those restrictions to ship in the dangerous materials used to construct that bomb. So that's your game. I knew you didn't bring me on the stand just to testify. What could possibly lead you to believe that I was involved with that theft? Well, Violetta seemed to be very involved with him. I knew it. How did you even... He looked nervously around the room before catching himself. So what is it then? Are you going to call my cat on the stand to testify? Oh, manifest. Manifest. We're going to manifest this. No, I think you'll do just fine. Yes. Do it. No. We have seeded this. This has to happen. Don't tease us, game. We are going to cross-examine a cat. You little brat. Fine, you want my testimony? I'll tell you exactly what's wrong with your foolish theory. No. We've teased this. This has to happen now. I've said this time and time again. What would I have to gain from blowing up my own land? I would have destroyed countless factories and refineries. Hundreds of lives would have been lost. Not to mention what that would do to my standing. It would render me completely powerless. My city would have been left defenseless. I'd just be leaving my land right open for Lucio to march in and maintain order. And there was his final defense. The one argument I didn't have a counter for. What he's saying makes a lot of sense. I know. I still don't understand why he would be involved in something like this. He may be petty, but he wouldn't have lasted long in the nobility if he were a complete moron. He wouldn't have done something like this just to spite Dragon or the unions. There had to be something else he was trying to accomplish. But what could be worth attacking his land? No matter what he got from it, it wouldn't be worth giving up power to Lucio. Something else had to be happening here. Cross-examination. All right, let's press him. I must agree with Lord Von Sanctus, Mr. Cuthbert. I don't see any reason to entertain this.
Jackson!
If Mr. Cuthbert wants to wait the course time with his line of question, I believe we should let him. Let him get it out of his system. Something was strange about her tone of voice. It was like how she was overplaying how she usually spoke during our trials. Was she covering for me? I think she is. Seeing as how those facilities are no longer owned by you, I don't imagine you seeing that as a loss, right? Please. I know you wish to paint me as a monster, as you do with every other noble that crosses your path. Do you honestly think I'd sacrifice so many lives without a good reason? Which implies that there is a reason you might make such a sacrifice? He stopped himself again before drawing in a slow breath. I am not some bloodthirsty maniac. If you want to pursue the nobles with real blood on their hands, perhaps you should look toward the Grand General. Witness, may I remind you that my father is sitting in the gallery? The Duke practically choked on his own words as his head whipped to look over to the Grand General. He stammered for a bit before he continued. Well, anyways... Not to mention, without due to my standing... Are you really telling us the truth? As the Duke of Commerce, I'm sure your holdings extend beyond the city of Orono. Orono is our main trading hub with other nations. Even if I don't personally own most of the facilities in the city, our entire trade network is built upon them. Without those facilities, supply lines would crumble and nationwide manufacturing would grind to a halt. Those were all really good points, which raised the question as to why he thought this was worth it. Was he really willing to sacrifice global trade? Or did he have something else in mind to stop that from happening? And I said he would have been left defenseless. Would that really happen? For someone of your status, surely you have your own armed forces. I have access to some armed guards, perhaps. But they exist to carry out the law and protect the city from bandits and thieves. The kingdom would never trust such a small force to protect a city like Orono, especially after an active insurrection. So what was his plan then? Was he trying to get the Grand General set him up for another massacre? Or did he have some way to maintain order without the need for Lucio's intervention? That was the last piece I needed to establish his motive. Von Sanctus, can you add what you just said to your testimony? Whatever. It's not as if I have the numbers of manpower required to maintain order in a city under attack. Let's see. What do we say about that? Aether Guard. 100 kilogram, 300 tons of arcane constructs. 300 tons of arcane constructs? Oh, what? House von Sanctus commands the entirety of our kingdom's industrial output. It directs the flow of trade throughout our kingdom. Every cog in the machinery of commerce, from the extraction of raw materials to the construction of finished products, was my concern. Of course, one would not expect a workforce of commoners to operate as a perfect unit. People made mistakes, people got injured, people got sick. Sometimes people even died. Such were the flaws of men. There was no way around it. At least that's what I'd always thought. You see, Arcaris is the nation south of Wirengard. It's a small nation, dwarfed by the juggernaut that was Oz' marvelous kingdom. But they were protected by the Ordo Australis, a peacekeeping organization that had every other nation in the world under its thumb. They were quite useful allies, and one could purchase raw materials and products from them on the cheap. I'd always been curious about how they could turn a profit while charging so low. I decided to travel there myself. I wanted to see what their secret was. And what I saw shook me more than anything else I'd ever seen. It was beautiful. It was perfect. How did presenting this turn into a flashback? I saw legions of workers, obedient beasts of burden. Every hand knew its task. Every foot knew where to stand. Every minute was measured. Supervisors always stood watch over them like a noble lord overlooking their kingdom. They never needed to bark orders. They simply needed to remind everyone that there was always someone watching. Arcaris was small, but its population was dense. I drove by large stone buildings that towered over anything I'd witnessed in Wirengard. The people were packed next to each other. There was only enough room for them to breathe. There would never be enough for everyone, but that just kept the people hungry. It was only later that I realized that this was part of the glorious design. Jobs were always available, and they were sold to the lowest bidder. Anyone who broke under the strain could easily be thrown away and replaced. There was always someone else waiting, eager to take what they had. It was a grand symphony of efficiency. It was a marvelous machine that never stopped. In that moment, in the moment when I witnessed divinity itself, I knew that this was the future of industry. No, this was the future of humanity itself. Nothing I'd built in Wirengard could even compare to the utopia they'd created there. I spoke with their leaders. They told me about their plans. They told me about the arcane constructs, mindless machines that did everything they were told. They'd done the impossible. They'd improved upon perfection. We no longer needed the commoners in order to thrive. I would be the master of my own universe.
Objection!
You really are a fool, aren't you, Von Sanctus? Why? Because you still believe I'd destroy my city just to spite your client? No. It seems your plan was far more insidious than that. I've thought it over, and there's really no other explanation. You were really planning to do it, weren't you? You were planning to defend the city using a legion of arcane constructs. What? Arcane constructs? Are you referring to those suits of armor at the Imperial Academy? That's correct, Your Honor. I have a shipping report proving that the witness received a large shipment of arcane constructs recently. And according to the harbor master, you've been receiving shipments like that for the last few months. So what if I have? I don't... His head whipped around the room, first to the gallery, then to the Grand General himself. Lucio quietly narrowed his eyes at him. Von Sanctus practically flinched at his glare. You filthy little upstart! You're going to ruin everything, he thinks. Your Grace? So it is true, then. The Duke's teeth were so clenched that they might shatter. His breath was practically oozing the vitriol that he wanted to throw at me. You are not going to be the one who undoes me! Not you! It's about time someone taught you your place, you little rat! I'm ready when you are, Von Sanctus. Come and lose another match. Oh, that's cold. Oh! Argument. Here we go. You think I was planning to use the constructs for combat? I was merely... I was going to use those constructs for labor. I was planning to use those constructs to work in my factories. Yes, that's it. Hang on. Let's see. What do I have to... Let's see. Denied. His factories, huh? What do we got to contradict that? It was, that we're... Okay, we gotta figure this out. They've also been working in the magically secured offices. So he's saying he was gonna use it to work in his factories? So hang on, what does he say? I was going to use those constructs for labor. And then workers' unions and Orno, however, this has been denied. Let's see, newest Stralis to Remus for Gili, 100 kilograms Von Sanctus, unknown. 300 tons of arcane construct, 30 tons of bronze to Prim Textiles, 5 tons of fine linens, Von Sanctus, wine and kilograms of exotic jewels, okay? So what do we present to this? Gonna be bribing. Basically, watch his attention. Stole a dangerous shipment. They produced an explosion. The theft occurred the morning of Justin's death. The King's Guard has set up a blockade and prevented anyone from traveling in and out of Orno. They seem to be making note of everyone in the city. No. Still holding out for the cat, you know. Is it union tensions? You don't know any of the factories or refineries in Orno's industrial district, Von Sanctus. Okay, good. That's what I was trying to get at. What jobs could you possibly have them fill? I have other cities in which I do business. Then why would you import and keep them in Orno? I have no doubt that you plan to use those constructs as part of a labor force. But you'd only be able to do that after your bomb destroyed the factories that were already there. It was a pretty good plan, Von Sanctus. I'm almost surprised you came up with it. Oh, negged. You would stage an attack on your city, use your legion of constructs to restore order, and then use them as a labor force to rebuild the damage. Selling your constructs nationwide would have been easy after a demonstration like that. It was more than that, wasn't it, Lloyd?
Arya,
Constructs follow orders. They're not vulnerable to the disorganization and chaos of living soldiers. They'd be less likely to commit the atrocities my father has been allowing to happen in the countryside. With the recent news, you had the perfect opportunity to use those constructs to encroach on the Steelwind's domain.
That's preposterous. Completely and utterly preposterous. There is no conspiracy. These insurrectionists are real.
You have nothing that ties me to Justin.
What proof do you have that I was working with that boy anyway? Everyone he's been doing is nothing to do with me.
Nope, Queen. No, it wasn't indisputable proof, but it did have something that at least proved a Pillar family was involved. What's that? Are these insurrectionists in the room with us right now? Yeah. What do we have that proves a Pillar family was involved? Here's the shipping report. Okay. No. Still in arcane crystals? No? Well, what is it? But she couldn't... Okay. A few months. What do we have that proves the Pillar family was involved? He's an investor. Okay. Our noble family is one of the most powerful. And I met children. I've met children who play chess better than him. I didn't notice that. You have nothing that ties me to Justin. The ring? What about this ring, Von Sanctus? It was a crucial tool in many of Justin's robberies.
What about it? You can't tie that ring to me.
It was fitted with artificery that is a lot more advanced than what's available to the public. Only a Pillar family would have access to something like that. Oh, we can't save right now? Yuck.
Surely that's conjecture at best.
Maybe, but it still points to the fact that someone of high status was involved in this.
He was working with insurrectionists.
Justin was loyal to the insurrectionists. Those dissidents are crafty, and they are all over Weirengard. That boy was one of them. He was working hand in hand with them. No, he wasn't. Arrested insurrectionists. He was trying to deflect blame to the insurrectionists. The reports of insurrection in Orno were false. That just something what's on Sanctus. What? The Mr. Phantom? Okay, I feel like those two should have been the same evidence. Come on. If Justin was truly working with those insurrectionists, then why did he rob so many of them?
Well,
Not only did he rob them of all their possessions, his robberies revealed them to the authorities. Do you seriously think he'd do that to the very people he was working with?
Then he must have betrayed them. He was in massive debt, wasn't he?
He must have become desperate, and took whatever he could to pay those off. How did you know about Justin Way's debts?
I merely inferred it.
It's not uncommon for peasants to overextend themselves financially. Right.
I don't have to prove anything to you. That boy was desperate, and both of us know it.
Justin took every opportunity he could to pay off his debts.
He was a thieving rat. He had loyalty to no one. He would betray anyone to pay off his debts.
All right. What do we have here? Here, eventually, he saw Justin, it took the shape. The spell destroyed the guy, pushed Justin. All right. He didn't steal the gold. Except there was one person he clearly didn't betray, Von Sanctus. When he entered my client's office, he successfully broke into his safe. He had every opportunity to take the gold there, but he chose not to.
So he had a crisis of conscience. So what?
You're trying to paint Justin Way as some kind of heartless criminal who supported the insurrectionists. However, that's completely contradicted by his own actions. He had no idea about the fact that he was planting evidence of insurrection within the home of his targets. He had no idea that he would be planting a bomb in the refinery using your ring. And he had no idea that the person telling him to do these things was you, Lloyd von Sanctus. The Duke's eyes nervously shot around the courtroom. He looked like a cornered animal. Every eye was on him. He could have denied everything, but his nervous indignation had betrayed what he'd done. There's no evidence, Mr. Cuthbert. What? There's no evidence that actually proves he was involved with this. You only have the ring, and that won't be concrete enough. That's right! There's no evidence tying me to that boy! Steelwind, what are you doing? You can't indict someone with this little evidence, especially not a duke. If I were to bring this to trial, it would never hold. Ha! You're completely right. You don't have any evidence against me. I made sure to cover all my tracks. But everyone here knew he did it. It was written all over his face a moment ago. He was going to blow up half of my city just so he can sell some constructs. Countless lives would have been lost. And after all that, he was seriously going to get away with this? Come on, there had to be something. There was always something. They always leave something behind. But he was careful about this. He kept his distance from Justin and used Violetta to deliver his communications. The only reason that I found out was because of my ability to talk to animals. And it's not as if I could prove that either. There was only one move I had left. Ha! Glaring like that is unbecoming of you, boy. Again.
None can remain concealed.
There had to be something he left behind, some sort of mistake he made. He was really careful about this. I just had to hold out hope that he slipped up somehow. Let's see. What about the stolen crystals? Luckily for me, that container was already abandoned on the beach. I cast magic through Violetta to transport the container to the house. Then, when that boy placed the crystals inside the chest, I used Violetta to move the bomb into place. Of course, that bomb was constructed personally. I made sure to only use materials that the boy stole. To anyone else, it would look like he constructed that bomb. He had Justin do everything. He didn't even place the bomb himself. He just teleported it into the house using Violetta somehow. And the chest was already covered in traces of conjuration magic. He was careful about this. Alright, shipping report. I had no choice but to have the constructs pass through the border officially. It would have been impossible to move that much cargo into Orno secretly. There was nothing there for me to use, alright? The testimonies... What about the pet caller? Could anyone prove that I was communicating with that boy? No. I made sure that all my communications were delivered through send message. Ah, we got a new spell. Conjuration, Malum, 1 hour. For the duration of the spell, the caster projects their voice to communicate with the target. Anyone within a 30-foot radius of the target can hear the caster's voice. The caster can also hear sounds close to the target, allowing for two-way communication. The target must be a person known to the caster. That person must also be conscious, otherwise the spell will fail. Alternatively, the target can be an object that is attuned to the caster's magic. Okay. I never actually met that boy in person. I just used Violetta to see him. Damn it all. Send message wouldn't leave any evidence. It was also a conjuration spell, and those traces were already on Justin because of the ring. Von Sanctus planned for this. Alright. What about the ring? Could they use the ring in any way? No, that ring may be advanced, but it can't be tied to me. I commissioned it anonymously, and the artificer that made it has already returned to Akaris. Even if they did know who he was, they would never have enough time or evidence to extradite him here. He had a ring manufactured in a way that couldn't be tied to him. How long had he been planning this? No, he'd accounted for everything. You can ruminate all you want. There's nothing you can do. Face it, boy. You've lost. I wasn't naive enough to think that I'd be able to win every case. But I never imagined that I'd lose one as important as this. Was I really going to lose, though? The source of my power is the everlasting support of the Drakian Trading Company. They're pretty small. They're only operating in Orno right now. But I hear that they're planning to expand their operations throughout Weirengard. Miss Tudor, I understand that you run a cafe in the food district. This cafe would not exist without the generous patronage of the defendant. You must feel quite indebted to him after all. He saved you from the kind of life you lived before.
I didn't trust it at first, but Drakigan's idea really took off. Finally having a say in things has been great for the workers in the city.
Wait, the workers' unions were Stefanik Drakigan's idea?
I've seen how this kingdom treats those at the bottom of society. Those without are treated like tools, worked by their employers until they break and need to be replaced. It's a simple thing, really. When you keep your employees happy, they perform better, and that pays itself forward. I created the first workers' union with Noah to allow workers to better advocate for themselves.
Yeah?
I'm glad to see it set a precedent for the employers of our other companies to do the same.
Drakigan was doing a lot of good and setting an example for others to follow. The entire reason why I took this case was to defend him. Somehow I'd lost sight of that. Tell me, Von Sanctus, do you truly believe that Justin Way's death was my client's fault?
Well, it certainly wasn't my fault.
That wasn't what I asked. Do you believe that the guardrail broke because of my client's negligence or because of Justin's ring? He stayed silent for a while.
It was obviously because of Drakigan's negligence. After all, there's no proof that Justin attempted to activate that ring.
What about the traces of conjuration magic on the container?
Any number of conjuration spells could have been cast on it.
And the rail-shaped indents on the container?
A coincidence. That container could have come from anywhere.
There is no definitive proof that the container broke the guardrail.
Look, unless you can prove that the container was in the refinery, you have no case.
What did he say? An expanding prism? Let's see. No, we need a physical piece of evidence. The container had been in the refinery, if only for a moment. What could prove that? Here, eventually... Is it the collar? Let's see. The dented metal container? Union tension... Is it the collar? Justin grabbed Violetta's collar shortly before he activated the ring. We found half of this collar lodged in the container. Justin dropped the other half before he fell into the vat. Do you recognize this collar, Von Sanctus?
That's Violetta's collar. I was wondering where it disappeared to.
Violetta? That's the name of the Duke's cat, Your Honor.
And what? Do you think you can implicate me just because my cat was at the scene of the accident?
I'm more interested in what both halves of this collar were found.
Halves?
This collar is really unique. It even has a name engraved into this leather, which raises one question. Why was one half of this collar dropped by Justin, while the other half was found lodged in the chest containing the bomb?
What?
As you very well know, Justin activated the ring, but the spell failed to fully switch his position with the bombs. But before he did that, he grabbed Violetta's collar. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but the failed teleportation must have split this collar in half. One half remained in Justin's grasp, while the other was lodged into the chest that briefly appeared. This proves one indisputable fact, that Justin did activate the ring, causing the metal container to briefly appear on the guardrail and break it apart. The death of Justin Way was not a result of my client's negligence.
So what? That doesn't prove my involvement in anything that happened.
That doesn't matter. My job is and always has been to defend and acquit Drakigan from your false charges. I may not be able to win this time, but neither will you. Despite your best efforts, my client will continue to operate in Orono. So with that said, I'll settle for a stalemate.
Does the prosecution have any rebuttals to the defense's claims?
We do not.
Then the court sees no reason to prolong this trial any further. How typical. You truly are a rat, scrounging whatever scraps you can scrape together.
My client is safe now. That's all that matters.
Is his delusion contagious or something?
Or are you just trying to cope with your loss? I've seen how much Orono has changed because of his actions. There's a significance to that. All you've seen is our society take one small step closer to anarchy. No matter, he's just one man. It won't be long before he's forgotten. Is that really the end of the case? Hang on a second. No, this can't be, right? You cannot tease us cross-examining the cat and not have it happen. I'm sorry. It just ain't. It ain't going. I exhaled deeply, the weight of this trial finally off my shoulders. Out of every case I've defended, this was easily the most stressful one. But I didn't know if I could consider this a victory. I still couldn't believe I just let Von Sanctus get away with this. Was there anything I could have done differently? Hey, don't look like that. I know you wanted to bring the Duke to justice, but you did a good thing today. No, what I really wanted was revenge. Don't be like that. You did a good thing. Dracogen can continue operating in Orono, and Rika gets to keep her cafe. For now. Von Sanctus isn't going to take this lying down. He's bound to try something else once the publicity dies down. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Dracogen. He may be acquitted in the eyes of the justice system, but the court of public opinion is a different thing entirely. Everyone saw how he was acting. You may not have proved it in the legal sense, but it was obvious to everyone what he'd done. I'm sure word will spread. Is that really enough, though? He should be locked up after what he tried to do. I don't disagree with you, but there's something to be said about where his true power lies. Are you talking about his position? Not his position, but his image. People like Lloyd thrive on making the common folk feel powerless. He needs people to believe that there's nothing they can do in the face of his influence. Today, you revealed Lloyd for what he truly is. A weak and desperate fool, blinded by greed. His allies will keep him at a distance, and his enemies will jump at this opportunity. His days are numbered. There is some truth to his words. Prosecutor Steelwind. It seems that my father had some suspicions about what was happening, but even he never considered Von Sanctus to be the mastermind behind this. It's really unlike him. We all underestimated what he was capable of. You were trying to help me catch him, weren't you? That's why you kept drawing out the trial. I obviously can't confirm or deny that. But I did think that if anyone could reveal his crimes, it would be you, Mr. Cuthbert. Perhaps I was being too hopeful. Don't sell yourself short. As I said, there's value in how you appear to the public as well. You've been standing your ground against the nobility. You even challenged a duke this time around. I've seen it throughout the kingdom. You've lit a flame in those who might have lost hope. I wouldn't really go that far. Don't underestimate the light of inspiration. It may start from a single ember, but it can spread to those who are willing to accept it within themselves. No one can stop a flame like that once it starts. Not you, not me, not even the king himself. That's why I started the workers' unions. I wanted to show people that our society could become something better. It was definitely hopeful, and after everything that had happened, I could use a bit more hope. I would just need to keep doing what I was doing. The future would show me how true Dracogen's words were. But I still felt uneasy. Even if Von Sanctus would lose power, a cornered animal was the most dangerous one. You filthy rat! I will have words with you! Oh, speak of the devil. Hey, back off. It's fine, I can handle him, Celeste. So what's so important, Your Grace? There is no arcane spell in the world that can intercept the communications between a mage and their familiar. What did you do to Violetta? A familiar? Don't be coy with me, boy. I saw you speaking with her.
That is not any of your concern, Lloyd.
Lucio!
I suggest you stop harassing Mr. Cuthbert, lest you be suspected of coercion.
So that's what this was. He's one of yours. This isn't over, Lucio. This is far from over. And the Duke of Commerce left in a huff, grumbling to himself. I narrowed my eyes at the Grand General. For the first time, he wasn't surrounded by his knights.
He was speaking about familial bond.
What?
Whatever animal you spoke to was Lloyd von Sanctus's familiar.
Familial bond, divination, riturum. Until either target dies. Wow. The caster forms a magical, unbreakable bond with the target creature, connecting them to the caster's magic. While this bond exists, the caster can telepathically communicate with the target over any distance. The caster can also choose to see through the target's eyes as long as they concentrate. Oh! Any spells that affect the caster will also affect the target creature and vice versa. Lastly, the caster can also cast spells from the location of the target creature instead of their own location. Okay, so that's how he was speaking with Violet. It was just an arcane spell. But that just raised another question. How did you know that I spoke with his familiar?
An educated guess. You can speak to all animals, can you not?
I blinked at him. What is the theocracy planning here? The theocracy? Are you talking about the kingdom west of us?
Don't play games with me. I'm no fool.
I'm not. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Then why are you able to use Luminian magic?
What?
You possess the Eye of Radiance, the ability to read the minds of others.
I eyed him warily. He seemed to know more about the Eye of Horus than I did.
Like I said before, I've read the transcripts of your past cases, and what you did to me during the first session all but proved it.
The theocracy of Lumina was the nation west of us, and Werenguard's most hated enemy. I didn't know much about them. Any written information about them was heavily controlled by the kingdom. I am not an agent of the theocracy, Lucio.
Perhaps not.
So what? Are you going to have me executed for treason? Considering what's been happening lately, I doubt that would be a good look for you.
Just the opposite. You are now going to be my agent.
What?
There will come a day when I will require your skills and abilities. The Eye of Radiance is too powerful a weapon for me to squander. I imagine it will be of great use to me.
And if I refuse?
Then I will treat you just like any other foreign agent. Be ready. I imagine the day I call upon you will come sooner rather than later.
Celeste rushed over to me as the Grand General left. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. He didn't hurt you, did he? What did he say? I think he's forcing me to work for him? What? He knew about the Eye of Horus. It was supposedly related to the theocracy, Werenguard's greatest rivals. After what I'd learned in the last few months, I figured there must exist other types of magic. But I never considered that there might be an entire nation of people with abilities like mine. No wonder I couldn't find any information on the Eye of Horus. Werengard heavily curated any information about Lumina. I guess it doesn't matter, it's a problem for later. I'll talk to Arya about this. She might be able to help. We're actually heading to a tavern. Do you want to come with? No, I'm gonna go see Rika. She'll want to know about what happened. Alright. Don't cause too much trouble for her. She's dealing with a lot. Hey, I never cause trouble. Of course. It may have come with a side of coercion, but the Grand General did give me another lead on the Eye of Horus. I needed to talk to Miss Tamora about this. We might be able to dig up some more information about the theocracy and its magic.
Your Grace, you have a visitor. It's...
I thought I told you I wanted to be left alone! What idiot!
Lloyd.
William, You absolute moron! It's not what it looks like. They couldn't even prove anything.
It doesn't matter. Even a child could have told that you were guilty. We needed those constructs to cripple Lucio's hold on the military, and now those bloody things are attached to your accursed name.
Do you have any idea how difficult it will be to sell those things to the House of Lords now?
Enough. Your house will soon be in shambles. I have a plan that will at least allow us to salvage what's left.
Salvage? Oh, there's the Eye Taker. It's all a bit anticlimactic, isn't it? Oh, what? What is, Father? I was really counting on all hell breaking loose in this city. Either old Lloyd would succeed, or Lucio would suss him out and take his head in a bloody spectacle. Ruby's kid really pulls through to a fault, doesn't he? Everything ended too peacefully. He does tend to do that, doesn't he? We don't even have Justin to show for all our trouble. I was really betting on him entering the fold with us. It's a pity. He was taken from us too soon. Don't worry. We still have Frege on our side. Yeah. We'll just have to put the final piece on her.
Oh boy. Interesting.
I walked into the cafe again. I was coming after the lunch rush. There weren't that many people there. I spotted her talking to one of her employees. Check the inventory and tell me if we're running low on anything. I don't want us scrambling around like last week. Tyrion! Everyone's talking about what happened. It seems the Duke of Commerce was no match for the light-sworn monarch. What's that look for? You did win, didn't you?
It's a bit more complicated than that.
Scaled Lord.
I know.
Is that really all we are to people like him? So many people could have gotten hurt. I live pretty close to the industrial district. I could have been caught in that explosion. I can't imagine what would have happened if Justin had never decided to rebel against Von Sanctus. Did he really do that, though? What? Do you really think he was rebelling against the Duke? Maybe he just decided to teleport on that catwalk instead of the office. I thought you believed in him more than anyone else. I did, but did I really know anything about him? He was different after he served his sentence. Not worse, just different. I never knew he had debts to a criminal overlord.
Who's apparently a Dark Lord, too? Okay.
I never knew what actually happened to him in the dungeons over those years. He never wanted to talk about it. I read a lot of stories about what happened in the dungeons throughout Guard. I couldn't imagine what he had gone through in there. It was my fault he went through that. I should have never let him take the fall for me. Don't say that. He made his own decision, and that decision was to protect you. Justin stole everything he could. He didn't care. I don't know. Not the gold. He had every reason to take the gold in Draken's safe, but he left it in there. He didn't know what those documents would be used for, but he knew that taking that gold would harm Draken. He left it. Despite everything he was doing, he still held gratitude and respect towards Draken. I guess that makes sense when you put it that way. Thanks. I know it's been a while, but if you ever need to talk, I'm here. And that ended another chapter in my life as an attorney. I always swore that I'd never return to Orono. I thought I needed to keep the past buried. But coming back here was exactly what I needed to start burying what happened all those years ago. I honestly still felt an indignant fury towards the Duke. I don't think I could ever forget what he had planned for this city. But I wasn't alone anymore. I had Miss Tamora, I had Celeste, and I had my friends in Orono. I didn't need to carry all of this by myself. And in that moment, thinking back to the night Celeste comforted me, I realized something. I think I have feelings for her. What? I stood up from my seat, my eyes wide in terror. The migraine returned with a vengeance. Scaled Lord, I think I have feelings for Celeste. Oh, shit. That's great, Tyrion. Is that great? I don't actually know what the deal is between you two.
She's my coworker, Rika.
Yeah, but you're obviously more than that. You're friends, at least. I'd never even considered romantic relationships until now. We spent a lot of time together anyway. What would that even change if we went down that route? Humans entered romantic relationships to fulfill emotional needs and engage in intimacy, both of which enrich the lives of both parties. Thinking about the intimacy was distracting. I needed to focus on something else. Rika, what do I do? Tyrion, I've known her for 3 days. You really need to give me more to work with. Well, I guess it all started a few months ago. I met her at a tavern and she introduced me with a joke about... Oh gosh. What? It made more sense the way she said it. Okay, Let's start with something simple. How did she start working as your bodyguard? Oh, that's a bit of a long story, too. Rika sat down at the table nearby as she called over the waiter. I've got some hours to kill before the dinner rush. Tell me. The origin of Horus has been completed. All right. Wow. Case 3's done. So case 3 was actually pretty relevant, you know? We're on episode 4. I'm going to take my break, and I think we will get into episode 4 a little bit. I think there's 5 total in this game, so we'll see. But anyway, I'm going to take my break, and we'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Oh no. So, since Tyrion has feelings for Celeste, does that mean she's not coming back in the sequel and will never be mentioned again? That, yes, I think that is exactly what is going on. Yes, because who's Iris again? For some reason, that name just came up. I don't know. I've never heard anybody like that. Right? I guess it depends on the amount of Fujoshis who like this series. All right. In the kingdom of Weirengard, there was a gulf between what was lawful and what was just. Hey, I think this is the opening narration. Here, ideals are just fairy tales. They were pleasant to think about, but they distracted from how the world really was. You're naive, but I've been starting to think that if everyone else was like you, the world wouldn't be the way it was. But the world was the way it was. Not even you, with all your special divine powers, could change that. I can't believe Cuthbert used the Eye of Horus on the client. He's becoming more and more reckless, and I think McCoy is just making him worse. I wonder what he was like with his real mother. He's definitely nothing like Ryan was. What? Adopting him was a mistake. Beatrice. Oh, Beatrice! Is something wrong, Tamora? No, it's nothing. Well, the trial is about to begin, and all of our futures are at stake. Of course, Miss... Actually, what do you go by now? I prefer just Beatrice, but they'll be using my legal name anyway. Beatrice muttered some kind of mantra before clapping her hands together. Are we playing as Ruby? She'd been doing that a lot since we'd met. It must have been some kind of meditative ritual for her. I couldn't help but side-eye Eris. I was a little annoyed with how careless she was being. Why are you here? Is something wrong, Tamora? We are playing as Ruby. I'd just like to know what you think you're doing here. My father sent me to accompany Beatrice to the courthouse. It's a new environment for her. We do need to keep her condition in mind, after all. I wasn't so convinced. Her father had a lot more sense than that. Not to mention that Eris always liked stirring up trouble. She took a lot of pleasure in complicating my jobs. It was apparently her favorite pastime. And the boss, doting father that he was, just let her do as she pleased. I hope you understand how much you're risking by being seen with me. You were already pushing it when you approached us at the academy. What the heck is this? Ruby is a baddie. Something is going on here. Don't you think you're worrying too much? You've been preparing for this, haven't you? I don't know, have I? Just keep your head low and make sure no one connects you to your father. You know how important this trial is. Why? Would knowing my true identity cause friction with your son? He's not my... Oh, speak of the devil. I spotted Cuthbert and McCoy walking into the courtroom with the other members of the gallery. I guess after our little argument, he wanted to see how this trial would turn out. McCoy spotted me and gave me a friendly yet uncomfortable smile. Cuthbert froze for a moment before looking away and walking silently into the courtroom. Does he not get his own sprite? Did he get Keiichi'd? Oh man, he did. You know, I think this series needs like, so in Higurashi, sorry, this is an aside, but so Higurashi. If you know visual novels, you probably at least heard of, when the cicadas cry is what it's technically known as. But they do this thing in between the episodes called the all cast review, where like the cast have this like out of character meeting at a cafe and like talk about how the story is going. And they keep joking about how the fact that like the main character Keiichi Maibara is doesn't have a sprite until like 5 or 6 episodes in, and Higurashi is a very, very long visual novel. It's a very good visual novel, but it's a very long one. Parental troubles. We had a disagreement earlier. It's nothing to worry about. If you say so. I was worried about what he saw in Beatrice's mind. He'd always been a good kid, but he was also really stubborn. Clouded his judgment sometimes. He hadn't been practicing law for very long. It didn't help that his string of victories was getting to his head. But I was sure that once he'd seen enough of what the courts were really like, he'd understand why I needed to do this. The trial is about to begin. Do you really have the time to be making small talk here? Prosecutor Steelwind approached the three of us, tailed by a familiar face. What are you doing here? Away with you. Go live in case number 2. Wallace Nightgrave. He's accompanying me as my aide for this case. So can I assume you'll be prosecuting? Of course. I would never pass up the opportunity to face the infamous Ruby Tamora. Really? If I remember correctly, you haven't beaten Tyrion once so far. Oh, it seemed that struck a nerve. I may be able to use that later. But, Miss Steelwind, don't strain yourself. What's that look for, Beatrice? You seem almost surprised to see me here. Considering the circumstances, I thought you might recuse yourself. I am more than capable of remaining objective, especially for a case of this much importance. Well, I hope your mind is as strong as you think it is.
Do I have evidence at all? I don't. Tyrion Cuthbert, Ruby Tamora. What is going on? I'm so confused. Miss Steelwind! Nightgrave looked unusually reprimanding and concerned for her. He was really averse to confrontation, wasn't he?
Oh, I love a good reunion.
The deck was already stacked in our favor. I just needed to follow through and get this over and done with. After that, we'd finally have everything we needed to topple the 4 pillars. Oh boy, that's big.
Order!
Court is now in session for the trial of Beatrice Frege. Oh, Frege. Oh. Interesting. Miss Steelwind, is the prosecution ready?
Oh, the prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
Oh, there she is. She gets her own sprite and everything. I love it.
The defense is also ready, Your Honor. She definitely looked less self-assured than usual. Her history with Beatrice might be throwing her off.
Very well, let's begin the proceedings. Prosecutor Steelwind, could you please list the charges?
Your Honor, the defendant is charged with first-degree murder and grand theft. As many of you know, Beatrice Frege is the formerly missing daughter of the now late William Frege, and the victim of the murder is William Frege himself.
Yes, I'm well aware of that. The people of Weirengard will certainly mourn the loss of House Frege's head. He was killed, was he?
Please, the only people who mourned him were the banking house's shareholders.
On that matter, did you also say that the defendant is accused of grand theft?
Yes, Your Honor. The crimes took place during the Lord's Ball, an event that was hosted in Frege Manor yesterday evening. The Haraldson Hall of History was hosting an exhibit within the manor. They were showcasing several magical artifacts donated to the Weirengard Historical Society. One of them was the Sword of Spell Eating, a magical artifact that allows its wielder to nullify magical effects. The Sword of Spell Eating. When wielded by a creature, that creature and anything connected to them physically or magically are immune to all harmful magical effects. Legends say that it was forged through a blood contract between a mage and a demon. Oh boy. The prosecution believes the defendant stole this item to break into the victim's study, which was secured with a magical lock. After breaking into the study, she attacked the victim and slashed his throat open using a letter opener. He died of blood loss shortly after. That is not a good way to go. William Frege died at 3:12 a.m. Cause of death was blood loss after his throat was slashed open. Both carotid arteries were severed, meaning the death must have followed mere seconds after the wound was inflicted. Body shows several scratch marks on the face and back. Traces of illusion magic were also found in the body. Oh. I see. Does the prosecution have a motive? William Frege and his daughter were not close. Saying that they had a strained relationship would be an understatement. In fact, 5 years prior to the murder, Beatrice abandoned and fled her home. She went into hiding and cut contact with all of her friends or family. The whereabouts were unknown until she contacted her father a week ago.
Objection!
Oh boy. My client left the Frege household because of her toxic relationship with her father. She wanted to create a life for herself that was free from his influence and abuse. I won't disagree with your claims, but that simply highlights how desperate the defendant must have been. She had clearly fallen on hard times and begrudgingly contacted her father for financial aid. I have no idea why they would schedule this meeting during the yearly Lord's Ball. But nevertheless, several witnesses did see her that night. And these same witnesses saw her storming out of her father's study in anger. Her father must have refused her request for aid, so she decided to murder him to claim his inheritance. It's a good thing we prepared for this. William Frege's inheritance. Beatrice Frege fled from her family 5 years ago. Frege fled family 5 years ago. Okay. And went into hiding. In retaliation, William Frege told Miriam Frege that he would remove Beatrice from his will. As a result, she wouldn't receive any inheritance after his death. As per your agreement, this testimony will be confirmed by Miriam Frege in court. Okay? What you're saying is all conjecture, Steelwind. You don't have any evidence to confirm when my client contacted her late father. Yes, I'm well aware that the defendant has refused to tell us what they discussed. And be honest, Steelwind, do you seriously think that my client committed these crimes in spite of her condition? Condition? What do you mean by that, Mr. Moore? Why don't you tell him, Steelwind? Tell the court about my client's disability. Your Honor, Beatrice Frege is legally disabled, however. Legally disabled? That's a convenient way of putting it, Steelwind. My client is completely blind. Completely blind? Is this true? We have several medical documents and testimony from several chirurgeons, okay, attesting to that fact. My client is unable to see anything. Beatrice's blindness. Beatrice Frege is completely blind. She is unable to see anything through her eyes. This has been verified through several medical reports and qualified chirurgeons. Guess. What is the meaning of this, Miss Steelwind? Do you expect me to believe that a blind woman performed any of the acts you're accusing her of? I'm glad you also see how ridiculous these claims are, Your Honor. If the court would just let me elaborate. Your Honor, the prosecution's first charge is grand theft. My client would need to break into a display case that was magically secured. Performing such an act would be a difficult task for anyone, much less my client. And the second charge is first-degree murder. My client would have needed to use the sword of spell-eating on the lock leading to the victim's study. Then she would have needed to grab a letter opener, overpower the victim, and deliver a precise and fatal blow to the victim's neck. Does any of that sound like a reasonable theory, Your Honor? I'm compelled to agree with you, Mr. Mora. It all sounds quite ludicrous, to be perfectly honest.
This is just awful. The Steelwinds have always been at odds with the Freges. They're just taking advantage of the Duke's death.
Objection!
Enough. Your Honor, the court has not seen the evidence that supports this case, nor have you listened to the Inquisition's testimony regarding their investigation. Until you have done so, you are in no position to pass judgment.
Very well, Miss Steelwind.
I guess the little lady has some claws after all. But it didn't matter. Their case against Beatrice was questionable at best. Frankly, it was surprising that Steelwind even went through with this. It was only a matter of time before the judge saw things my way. To begin, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orem White to the stand. There he is. Commander White, please testify to the court about the Inquisition's findings.
Right.
Witness testimony, okay?
We didn't want to cause panic after the sword was stolen. So, we activated the manor's silent security system. It put an anti-magic field over the entire manor. We did a search of the house and we found the stolen sword and the defendant's bedroom. It didn't look like she was going to run, and Crown Prince Astor told us to stand down. So we just kept a close eye on her. This is really interesting. Yeah, is she going to lose or is she going to cheat to win? I bet she's going to do something cheaty to win. William Frigga was in a bad mood that night. He had already locked himself inside his study. But an hour later, we entered the study and found him lying dead in a pool of his own blood. The lock was still engaged, and no one teleported in. The perp must have temporarily disabled the lock using the sword of spell eating. We have testimonies that say the defendant was seriously in debt. I guess she murdered the victim to get part of his inheritance. Their cases against Beatrice was just as I'd predicted. I already had a countermeasure to disprove the existence of any motive. All I had to do was present that to the court. Alright. Let's see. Activated the manor system. So what is it? This will be confirmed by Miriam Frege, right? Let's see. Sword. Must have perpetually... There we go. We got it.
Objection!
The Miriam Frege. On statement 7. Your Honor, the prosecution's case against my client is riddled with holes, and the prosecution's proposed motive is the largest among them. What do you mean, Miss Tamara? Of all the elements in this case, that motive is the most believable. Your client would have much to gain through her father's inheritance. That may be. But that's assuming my client had anything to inherit at all. What? Your Honor, my client fled from her psychologically abusive father 5 years ago. William Frege was a petty and vindictive man. Do you honestly think that he'd leave his inheritance to someone who disobeyed him so egregiously? No, he'd do everything in his power to make sure she didn't see a shred of his wealth. Yes, we're already well aware of this. The moment she slammed her cane down, I noticed her wince a little. She was getting more and more heated. I didn't realize her rivalry with Beatrice was that personal. On the night of the murder, the victim made the decision to disinherit the defendant. However, his murder deprived him of the opportunity to submit his will to his attorney. This only further proves the defendant's motive. She would have needed to act quickly, lest her father submit the changes to his will. I'm afraid you're mistaken, Steelwind. William Frege didn't disinherit my client that night. He disinherited my client 5 years ago when she left. I have witnessed testimony from Miriam Frege, William's youngest daughter. By her own admission, her father disinherited my client before she fled the household. That's why she left. What? She never brought that up during questioning? Why would she release information to one of her family's enemies? If you don't believe me, why don't we call her to the stand and ask her ourselves? What have you done, Tamara? I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, it's clear we won't get anywhere until we hear from Miriam directly. Bailiff, please escort Miriam Frege to the stand. Miriam, is the defense correct? Did your father disinherit Beatrice 5 years ago? Yes. And you didn't think it was necessary to share this information with me? Well, you never asked. If I recall correctly, you were also tight-lipped during questioning this morning. The witness had just lost her father and hardly expected to recall every detail that's relevant to his murder. Which raises a more concerning question. How did you extract this information? Who knows? I have always had a way with people. Miriam, please testify to the court about how you found out about Beatrice's disinheritance. Yes, of course. After my sister's accident, my father said that she was unfit to inherit our noble house. He declared to our family that he would be removing her from his will. It was 5 years ago, but I remember it well. One day, we all woke up and discovered that Beatrice had fled from our home. She left a note for us in it.
and in it she renounced her name and denounced my father. And are you sure this all happened 5 years ago? Yes, even now. I can remember everything clearly. Mm-hmm. I see. Her speech was getting slower, and I could have sworn that her words were slurring. Nightgrave seemed extremely concerned for some reason. And Leif was there with you at this meeting? Yes, she was. However, Leif couldn't have possibly been there. She was starting to sway as if she couldn't keep her balance. Was this trial getting to her? Hey, are you okay? Of course, What? By the Scaled Lord, is that blood? Bailiff, find anyone capable of casting healing magic. Escort them to the courtroom immediately. Oh, this is weird. After some scrambling, a couple of healers were able to help Nightgrave stabilize the prosecutor. In all the chaos, I caught a glimpse of her. There were deep wounds and lacerations on several parts of her body. She must have used some kind of illusion to hide them, but the mages dispelled it to identify her wounds. Yeah, he can cast healing magic. They took Steelwind out of the courtroom on a stretcher, but as they were doing that, she grabbed Nightgrave and rasped something into his ear. He looked confused, but he simply nodded and made his way to the witness stand. But not before passing a message on to the bailiff, who seemed equally confused. Yeah, what's up? Mr. Nightgrave, explain yourself. What is going on? Why would Miss Steelwind prosecute if she was so gravely injured? I'm sorry. But I wasn't actually here as Miss Steelwind's aide. I was here as her doctor. Her doctor? The truth is that Miss Steelwind was violently attacked at noon today. She was in critical condition, but she insisted on prosecuting the case anyways. She suddenly showed up at my house and asked me to channel my necromancy to keep her wounds closed during the trial. Scaled Lord! Why didn't she just recuse herself? She must have known. If anyone else tried to prosecute Beatrice, I would have handily won the trial. Nevertheless, she showed up when no one else would. And she did it all despite the risk to her life. It almost made me respect her a little. Anyways, is there any need to prolong this trial, Your Honor? What? Even you must acknowledge how weak the case against my client is. In addition to that, Miriam's testimony shows that my client had nothing to gain from her father's death. Miss Tamara, Miss Steelwind has been gravely injured. And you're still only concerned about... The only thing I'm concerned about is seeking justice for my client. Even so, we cannot move forward until we find another prosecutor. And how long do you think that will take, Your Honor? It's been nearly 12 hours since the murder took place. That gives us, 36 hours? After that, every magical trace at the crime scene will disappear. But there might be someone... If Steelwind had simply allowed another prosecutor to work this case, we wouldn't be in this situation. She took a risk, and now she has to take responsibility for that. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? I wasn't completely proud of winning this way, but I wouldn't let an opportunity like this pass me by. The judge was clearly unhappy with this turn of events, but Steelwind didn't leave him any choice. It seems that there aren't any prosecutors to immediately take Miss Steelwind's place. We will take a brief recess. After that, I'll deliver my verdict.
Objection!
What the... Your Honor, I'm afraid you can't pass a verdict just yet. Mr. Cuthbert! Cuthbert, what the hell are you doing? I don't know. But what I do know is that there was a massive contradiction in Miriam Frega's testimony. Holy crap. What is this? One day earlier, what? What is going on? What is this case? And why is it so Kino? Yeah, teleports behind your prosecutor's death and nothing personnel, Ruby. Is it true that if you just go behind the prosecutor's desk, they're not the prosecutor anymore and you're the prosecutor? Is that true? Okay. Miriam, you're back. Hello, Leif. How have you been faring? I heard about what happened to Professor Bellwether. I'm terribly sorry. That must have been an awful ordeal for you. Yes, thank you. But I've heard about your independent studies with the Crown Prince. Father is extremely proud of you. Miriam just scoffed at the obvious lie. It's been so long since you've been back at the manor. I was thinking we could have some tea together in the garden before the guests arrive. I am terribly sorry, but I'm already exhausted from the trip here. I think I'd like to rest in my room and prepare for the Lord's Ball tonight. Okay, but let me know if you change your... Leif wasn't even finished before her sister walked past her and entered her room. Case 4. Severed Ties. Ugh. I feel so out of place here. You mean severed ties with our mentor, maybe? Despite my clear issues with Weirengard's upper class, I'd somehow find myself at a party filled with them. I hardly recognized anyone, but from all the looks I was getting, they clearly recognized me. Why are you here in the corner by yourself? I can't believe I let you talk me into coming here. Everyone is... I lost my train of thought. I've been wanting to wear this dress for a while. What do you think? Oh, it's that bad, huh? What am I supposed to do when he looks at me like that? Oh no. Nervous and happy. No. You look stunning, beautiful, breathtaking. Several words came to mind, all of which would be mortifying if I said them out loud. Good. You look good. Oh, I look good. That's a start. It's almost as if she had the ability to read my thoughts. Well, hey, look, if you are a protagonist in a Ace Attorney game of any kind, you pretty much automatically have all your thoughts read. She couldn't actually do that, could she? I mean, I had the ability to read people's minds, so logic would dictate that I'm not the only one. What if she could read my mind? What if she was reading it right now? Am I interrupting something? Miss Tamora! Celeste and I quietly stepped away from each other when my mentor suddenly appeared. Hey, I bet he's the best looking guy here. I wanted to check in on you two before we went to meet with the Duke. I spotted Miss Tamora's client following behind her. It was hard to read her. The Eye of Horus couldn't glean anything from her mind. Her poise barely shifted. She carried herself with the grace of someone who didn't seem easily rattled. Her expression was calm yet distant. Even when we made eye contact, it felt like she was just staring through me. This was my first time meeting her, but she still looked familiar for some reason. Hi, I'm Tyrion. I'm Miss Tamora's ward. I extended my hand to shake hers. She seemed a little unapproachable. I hoped that I wasn't being too forward. Instead of taking my hand, she clapped her hands together and took a deep breath. What? Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It's a bit of a habit of mine. Oh. I'm Beatrice. I've heard much about you. Beatrice, freelancer, age 23, a mysterious woman who seems to be related to House Freyga, one of the the four pillar families. My gosh. She's currently working with Miss Tamora to negotiate some kind of deal with William Freyga. She shook my hand before looking to Miss Tamora. I wasn't sure about the details, but my mentor was brokering a deal between Beatrice and William Freyga. There were many elements of that which I found puzzling, but my mentor was tight-lipped as always. We're going to head to Freyga's study. Can you two stay out of trouble while we're gone? Oh, come on. It's not like we're always we'll always go looking for it. Yet you two always seem to find trouble anyway. Cuthbert, we're in a manor filled with the highest members of the nobility. You're going to meet some familiar and unfriendly faces. Don't worry, we'll keep it low profile, Miss Tamora. So why were you so insistent on accompanying Miss Tamora to the Lord's Ball? You know you can tell me anything, right? Everything that happened in Orono made me think about things. Every noble in the kingdom attends the ball. I thought maybe whoever left me at my family's tavern would be here. But being here is starting to make me feel weird. The McCoys are my real family. Looking for the people who abandoned me feels wrong. I don't think that's true. Really? I wouldn't be the person I am today without Miss Tamora. But I still keep the memory of my mother close to me, too. I don't think it's disrespectful to find out more about yourself, and I'm sure your mother will understand. You think so? I'm sure of it. And I'm also sure of another thing. If I'm with you, I doubt any of the nobles here will want to speak with you. Yeah, I didn't want to be rude, but don't worry. I can find something to fill the time. You're just going to play chess alone somewhere, aren't you? Maybe. You really need to learn to talk to other people. Make some new friends or something. In a room full of nobles? I'm sure they're not all bad. Arya's pretty great, right? Aster, too. She had a point, but I was never really one to make small talk with strangers. I looked around the room of nobles. I recognized some of them from news articles I had read over the years. There were also some people there who were around my age. They must have been the children of the noble heads. I could approach them. Chances were that one of them wouldn't be... Oop, what did it say? An arrogant pig, but the thought of everything that could go wrong was paralyzing. It's fine. I don't need more friends. I spend most of the time with you anyway. That's enough for me. Well, I'm going to try to talk to some people. Yeah, I'll see you later. Celeste left to mingle with some of the other partygoers. I was almost envious of how easily she could do that. I really wished I could strike up conversations with random strangers the way she could. It was fine. She had her strengths, and so did I. But that only made me wish I could be there for her. Stop it. She was her own person. She was perfectly capable of handling herself. I would need to find something to pass the time. My hand instinctively went to my satchel. I thought about bringing out my chessboard, but if I did that, I'd just stand out even more. I can just see him like, yeah, imagine being at a party and you just like sit down and pull out a full chessboard and start playing it by yourself. I should try to find somewhere where I can be alone. The hallway? I don't know. I think this is a good time to call it for the night. We got like a lot of this episode to get into, and this one looks fascinating. Like, I'm super interested in where this goes. So I think I'm going to go ahead and call it for tonight. And yeah, we're going to try some more of episode 4. Episode 4, this looks really cool. I'm excited to see where this goes, especially because I have been suspicious of Ruby from the beginning. So I want to see where we're headed with this. Anyway, we will see you next Saturday. Bye.